The silly cuties inside Yunchujia's spirit beast pouch all had stiff expressions as they listened to Yunchujia's nonsense. Was she afraid? She was lying. Mountain Master he and the others did not suspect anything. Even if they were to suddenly enter that kind of environment, they would still feel fear. What happened after that? Mountain Master he asked. After that, I saw that the corpses were all fixed to the stone wall and would not harm me. That was why I relaxed a little. However, I could not find the exit even after searching for a long time, so I could only stay on that level. Fortunately, I have food and drink on me, so I'm not hungry, Yunchujio said happily. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. You're missing the point, okay? Who asked if you're hungry? Continue, Mountain Master he urged impatiently. I think it's been a long time. Anyway, after I woke up I was no longer on that level. Guess where I am now? Yunchujio said mysteriously. Everyone was already speechless. How could she still be able to fall asleep in such a dangerous place? How strange. No one paid attention to her. She had already made a big mistake, yet she was still keeping them guessing. Seeing that no one was talking to her, Yunchujio continued to say embarrassedly, when I woke up, I realized that I was actually in the netherworld. That king of hell was old and fierce and his eyes were like copper bells. There were also ox heads and horse faces that were very scary, but that was nothing. There were screams all around me. Some were put into the pot of oil, some were dug out of their hearts, and some were cut into pieces. I was so scared that I fainted. When everyone heard that, their expressions changed. The netherworld? Could it be that the Azura prison was really connected to the netherworld? Everyone was extremely curious, but Yunchujio didn't say anything at this time. What's next? Mountain Master he had a quick temper. Seeing that Yunchujio didn't say anything, he asked anxiously. Yunchujio laughed dryly. Your disciple's mouth is a little dry. Can you give me a cup of tea to drink first? Mountain Master he was so angry that he almost threw the teapot on her face. However, he was anxious to know what happened next, so he could only personally pour her a cup of tea. After Yunchujio sipped a cup of tea, she said, That king of hell said that I have committed a grave sin in killing. He wants me to endure all the torture in the 18 levels of hell. No, it's a cycle of suffering. Do you think that the king of hell is sick? Which cultivator hasn't killed before? According to him, wouldn't all cultivators have to go to hell when they die? What nonsense. Everyone nodded repeatedly. They felt that what Yunchujio said was right. If it was really a sin of killing, they would be much heavier than Yunchujio. Wouldn't it be even worse? However, the situation is stronger than the person. I don't dare to really point at Yama's nose and scold him. I don't want to really be tortured, so I thought of a way to delay it. I asked the judge to recite the names of all the people I've killed. The time, place, and reason must all be clearly stated. That judge produced a 3-foot-tall book of sins. I also caused trouble from time to time. In the end, cough cough, that judge was so tired that he fainted while foaming at the mouth. Yunchujio coughed twice and said while touching her nose. Everyone's faces stiffened. This little girl was probably the only one who could think of such a derogatory method and dare to do so. Then, that king of hell got angry out of humiliation and said that he didn't want to read the Book of Sins anymore. He asked the little brat to directly punish me. Of course I didn't want to do it, so I jumped and cursed. I said this must be the fake king of hell's palace. How could anyone be punished without reading the Book of Sins? You must be a fake Hades palace. And then those Hades and whatnot disappeared. Yunchujio spread her hands and said. Mountain Master he and the others were stunned. Gone. In an instant they came to a sudden realization. So it was just an illusion. The little girl had accidentally exposed it, which was why the illusion had disappeared. It was luck. This time, without waiting for Mountain Master he to urge her, Yunchujio continued. A white light flashed before my eyes. When I regained my sight, there was an old man standing 3 feet tall in front of me. It said that it was the weapon spirit of the Azura prison. He said that there was no one to play with him and that he wanted to keep me inside. Of course I refused. However, I knew that I couldn't beat him. After all, the Black Tower was his territory. When everyone heard this, their curiosity was about to explode. The little girl was right. The weapon spirit was the ruler of the Azura prison. Then how did the little girl escape? I knew that it was impossible to fight it head-on, so I goaded him and said that he couldn't jump as far as I could. Of course he wasn't convinced. So we made a bet. Whoever jumped far could get the other party to do something. Moreover, we both swore an oath in our hearts. You're competing with the weapon spirit in the long jump? Little girl, how can you possibly win against it? Since it's the ruler of the Shura prison, it can naturally appear anywhere. You definitely can't win against it. Mountain Master, he shook his head. He felt that Unchujio's method was simply stupid. Unchujio blinked her eyes. Mountain Master, why don't we give it a try? I guarantee that we can jump farther than you. Little girl, could it be that you were too frightened inside and are talking nonsense? You can jump farther than me? What a joke. Mountain Master, he was so angry that he was amused. Then let's give it a try? If I win, when Master Bailey takes care of me later, please help me talk to him. If I lose, then I will lose 100,000 high-grade spirit stones to you. Unchujio said unwillingly. Mountain Master, he was a hot-tempered person. Otherwise he wouldn't have transferred that bad-eyed disciple out of nowhere. Therefore how could he withstand Unchujio's goading? He immediately agreed. The corners of Master Bailey's and the other's eyes twitched. This old he was originally interrogating the disciple, but he had agreed to a long jump competition after being beat around the bush. It was no wonder that the weapons spirit of the Shura prison would agree to this little girl's long jump competition. This little girl could indeed be fooled. However, how could she jump farther than old he? Everyone watched with eager eyes as they saw Unchujio draw a line on the ground. With a light leap she jumped more than 10 meters away. It was obvious that she didn't use her full strength. Could it be that this little girl only wanted to give old he 100,000 high-grade spirit stones? So that he could plead on her behalf? Wasn't she looking down on old he too much? How could old he help her for such a small amount of spirit stones? Mountain Master, he saw that Unchujio jumped so close and his mouth twitched. He felt that he could surpass her with 30% of his strength. Just as Mountain Master he was about to jump. Unchujio said with a smile, Mountain Master, do you dare to jump somewhere else? Mountain Master, he did not know that this fellow was full of bad ideas. He said arrogantly, change a place? Why not? You can choose any place. Even if it's uphill, I can jump farther than you. Unchujio nodded with a smile. Then she walked to the corner and drew a line 1 foot away from the corner. Mountain Master, come on. Jump from here. Jump towards the wall. Mountain Master, everyone, they finally understood why the weapon spirit had failed. This little girl was too despicable. Qiling was too despicable. Mountain Master, he was so angry that his face turned red and his neck was thick. Unchujio, you are cheating. Unchujio spread her hands. How is this cheating? I asked for your opinion. You said it yourself and let me choose randomly. Of course your mouth is big but my mouth is small. If you don't admit it, I have no objections. Mountain Master, his face turned even redder. He could only clench his teeth and say, Humph. If you are willing to gamble, you must admit your loss. I will help you plead for mercy in a while. Master Bailey quickly tried to mediate the situation. Unchujio, after you won the bet, did you let the Qiling release you? That's right. But I didn't expect that Qiling to be so despicable. She actually sealed my spiritual power before she bounced me out. If it wasn't for your help, I would definitely have fallen miserably. Unchujio said angrily. Mountain Master, he cursed in his heart. Qiling had done a beautiful job. If he was Qiling, he would have done the same. This little girl was too despicable. The crowd asked for more details. Xinjia's fabricated words were all true, so they weren't afraid of them deliberating. They didn't find any flaws. Then the question now was, how should they deal with Unchujio? Trespassing into the forbidden area would definitely be punished. The question was, how should they determine the severity of the punishment? Some peak masters said that the nature was bad and they had to be expelled from the sect. Some peak masters said that they did not cause any substantial losses. Moreover, because she had discovered the existence of the Azura prison, she could be given a lighter punishment. There were also some peak masters who were neutral and kept silent. A few names suddenly appeared on Unchujio's Xiao Hei's account book. When I become your ancestor, I will teach all of you a lesson. Mountain Master, he lost the bet. Even though he was 100 times unwilling, he could only help to speak up for her. Sect Master, although Unchujio made a big mistake, she did not have any intention of harming our sect. She was just mischievous. Don't punish her too severely. Just as Master Bailey was deep in thought. Unchujio wiped her tears with her sleeve. I was wrong. I really know that I was wrong. Although I didn't do it on purpose, I was wrong. If I'm not punished, others will learn from me and our primordial chaos sect will be in chaos. I invite myself to reflect on the 15th for 3 months. If I can make it through, I'll make it through. I won't blame anyone if I die in there. When everyone heard Yunchuji's words, they were truly shocked. 3 months of meditation on the 15th was already considered a very heavy punishment for Yunchujio. This little girl was really impressive. Although Master Bailey felt a little sorry for her, Yunchujio was right. If she was not severely punished and other disciples ran to the forbidden area to cause trouble, wouldn't the primordial chaos sect fall into chaos? Therefore Master Bailey nodded and said, "All right, then I'll send you to number 15 to meditate for 3 months." Master Zhua of Tianji Peak hinted at Yunchujio with his eyes. Yunchujio understood that he was telling her that he would think of a way to get her out as soon as possible. Yunchujio looked back with gratitude and felt proud. Did you see that? People should be good at something. If she died, the snow jade silkworm of Tianji Peak would have no one to help Elder Yu. The law-enforcing disciples escorted Yunchujio to the teleportation array of the meditation cave. Seeing Yunchujio being escorted here again, the small leader's face froze. She didn't seem to have been out for long. Why did she commit a crime again? The leader took the document from the law enforcement disciples and looked at it. Breaking into a forbidden area? Meditation cave on the 15th? 3 months. This little girl was really seeking death with all kinds of tricks. Yunchujio stood in the middle of the teleportation formation and said, "Senior brother, come on, let's start the teleportation." The leader reminded Yunchujio for the sake of the spirit stones. Number 15 meditation cave, there will be wind blades and lightning attacks every hour. You have to be careful. Yunchujio nodded. "I know, hurry up and teleport. Come back as soon as possible." The corner of the leader's eyes twitched. "I think you should die as soon as possible. This is the first time I've seen someone so eager to go to the reflection cave." A white light flashed in front of her eyes. When Yunchujio regained her sight, it was already the 15th reflection cave. Coincidentally, it was the time when the wind blades attacked. Damn it. Fortunately, I got a lot of defensive spiritual weapons from the weapon spirit. Otherwise, I would have lost half my life. Yunchujio avoided Qiling while criticizing him. The wind blades of number 15 reflection cave were much stronger than number 10 reflection cave. If this guy didn't have enough defensive spiritual weapons, he would have been in trouble. This guy was glad that she was still cautious and didn't choose a higher level reflection cave. It seemed that she should go out and get more defensive spiritual weapons, preferably immortal ones, so that she could be prepared. After 15 minutes, the wind blade finally retreated, followed by several bolts of lightning. She immediately threw her previous thoughts to the back of her mind. For these bolts of lightning, it was worth it to risk everything. The lightning here was much stronger than in cave number 10. While she was being struck by the lightning, she took the time to dig a hole. Otherwise, when the wind blade came again, she would be in trouble. 15 minutes later, although Yunchujio was reluctant to leave, the lightning still stopped. This guy sighed and continued to dig a hole. He didn't care whether it was flat or not. He had to hide his body first. In the following period of time, this guy was happily struck by the lightning. She felt that if she was struck for 2 or 3 months, she should be able to make a breakthrough. Unfortunately, Mountain Master Zhua of Tianji Peak was afraid that Yunchujio would be ordered to stay in the number 15 meditation cave, so he went to Master Bailey every now and then to plead for mercy. In less than a month, the law enforcement department issued a document. They had to release Yunchujio in advance. The little leader had learned his lesson from the last time, so he first summoned Jinji to ask Yunchujio about it. He planned to wait for the wind blades to stop before sending Yunchujio out. Yunchujio was holding her breath. It wasn't easy for her to find a suitable meditation cave, but old man Zhua wasn't helping at all. However, it was also her fault. Who asked her to be so versatile? Sai being too outstanding was also a burden. Yunchujio blinked her eyes and talked to Jinji. Jinji repeated Yunchujio's words with a stiff face. Little Jio said that she knows that she has sinned deeply, so she won't be released early. He has to stay in there for 3 months. Whether it was the leader or the law enforcement disciples, they were all dumbfounded. It was the first time they had met such a weirdo. How could she stay in there and not come out? Was he crazy? With no other choice, the law enforcement disciples had no choice but to return to the law enforcement office and report the matter to Manager Zhong, who then reported it to Elder Chu. Elder Chu went to Tianji Peak and reported the matter to Mountain Master Zhua, who had a stiff expression on his face. What did he mean? Was that little girl crazy? Mountain Master Zhuo was so angry that he decided to ignore her. If she was willing to be a civ inside, then so be it. As long as she wasn't dead, it was fine. The mating period of the snow jade silkworm was still far off. A certain Jiao had been in there for 2 months as she wished. On this day she felt that she could break through. Yun Chujiao had the 3 in her dantian spit out a large amount of lightning spiritual force, which she used to break through. The 3 knew that the lightning spiritual force was only aimed at a certain Jiao's dantian, and that it was ultimately still theirs. Therefore they cooperated and kept on swallowing the lightning spiritual force. 2 hours passed and 4 hours passed. 4 hours later, the cave number 15 was filled with purple lightning. A certain Jiao who was meditating and breaking through disappeared on the spot. The small leader who was guarding the teleportation array was chatting with the other disciples. The topic of conversation naturally could not be separated from Yun Chujiao. After all, it was the first time in so many years that he had encountered such a weirdo. Boss, you said that Yun Chujiao is only at the 6th layer of the Lingxian realm, but she stayed in the cave of thought number 15 for 2 months and was still fine. How did she do it? I heard that Yun Chujiao is very rich. She probably has a lot of defensive spirit tools or even immortal tools on her, so she can naturally last for a long time. You're right, but isn't this burning money? What was she thinking when she was told to come out earlier and not come out? Who knows, maybe she really blames herself? While everyone was discussing, they saw a little girl suddenly appear on the teleportation array. If it wasn't Yun Chujiao, then who was it? Yun Chujiao opened her eyes and looked at it blankly. How did she get teleported out after leveling up? Yun Chujiao waved her claws at the dumbstruck little leader. Then, senior brother, did you teleport me out? The little leader shook his head like a rattle drum. In all conscience, he didn't do anything. Could it be that there's a problem with the teleportation array? Senior brother, come send me in again. I'll continue to think about it. Yun Chujiao said with a smile. The leader felt like he was barking a dog in his heart. Generally speaking, since he had already come out, who would still want to go in again? Even if he found a random reason, he wouldn't want to go in again, okay? However, he had no position to prevent Yun Chujiao from going in, so he could only form a seal again and send Yun Chujiao back to the number 15 cave of reflection. After Yun Chujiao returned to the cave, she found a problem. Although the wind blades still blew every hour, the lightning was gone. This guy touched his nose guiltily. Oh my, could it be because of her breakthrough? Could it be that the lightning in other meditation caves was gone too? It shouldn't be, after all, these meditation caves were thousands of miles away. This guy shook his head. This number 15 meditation cave was considered useless and he couldn't come back anymore. This guy felt that since there was no lightning here, there was no point in staying any longer. He had to think of a way to get out. Therefore, this guy began to paint the wall with mud during the time when the wind blades stopped, so that he wouldn't be too late when he was teleported. When the stone wall was almost painted, this guy sent a message to Jin Ji, asking her to go to the law enforcement office. He told her that she couldn't hold on any longer and quickly let her out. Little Jiao, you didn't come out when I let you out before and now you're looking for them. Can they let you out? Jin Ji said with some worry. Don't worry, who asked me to be useful? They will let me out. When you arrive, send me a sound transmission talisman, Yun Chujiao said confidently. After hearing this, Jin Ji hurriedly rushed to the law enforcement office. Coincidentally, Manager Zhong was still on duty today. Jin Ji told him the purpose of her visit. Although Manager Zhong couldn't wait for Yun Chujiao to die, he was afraid of offending Mountain Master Zhuo, so he could only bring Jin Ji to see Elder Chu. After Elder Chu communicated with Mountain Master Zhuo with his identity jade token, he signaled Manager Zhong to bring Jin Ji to let her out. She recalled that when she passed by the teaching hall a few days ago, she saw that there were spirit fruits that were about to ripen. It should be almost ripe by now, so she hopped to the teaching hall. The teaching hall was where the elders taught the inner sect disciples. This was also the unique benefit of inner sect disciples. Outer sect disciples and handymen did not have such an opportunity. There was no one guarding the hall of teaching. After all, no one would randomly barge in. Of course, a certain Jiao had always taken an unusual path. Yun Chujiao slipped into the courtyard of the hall of teaching. When she saw the red spirit fruits on the branches, she could not help but be overjoyed. She picked one and took a bite without washing it. The juice was rich, sweet, and delicious. Yun Chujio finished the one in her hand and began to pull it into her storage ring. She was ready to bring it back for Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu to taste. Just as she was picking the fruit, the door of the main hall opened and the lesson of the preaching hall ended. An elder came out first, followed by many inner disciples. Yun Chujio recognized the elder who had come out. He was Elder Jing, who had designed the entrance test formation. He was the Elder Jing who had planned to eliminate Yun Chujio and the other three. Elder Jing naturally recognized Yun Chujio. The reason was simple. He had presided over the entrance test for hundreds of years, but this was the first time he had been slapped in the face by a candidate. How could he not remember? The two of them didn't like each other. Yun Chujio didn't say anything and Elder Jing didn't say anything either. Although Elder Jing didn't like Yun Chujio in his heart, he had his own identity, so he naturally wouldn't take the initiative to find fault with her. He snorted coldly and left with a flick of his sleeve. Yun Chujio curled her lips. This old thing really knew how to keep his face. Bah. Just because Elder Jing didn't find fault with them didn't mean that the others wouldn't find fault with him. This was especially so since Elder Jing had never accepted a true disciple. So many people had been sharpening their minds to gain a good impression of Elder Jing. They knew about the matter between Yun Chujio and Elder Jing, so some people had thoughts about it. Stop. Yun Chujio, don't you know that these spiritual fruits can't be picked randomly? Besides, this is the place where inner sect disciples listen to the law. A handyman like you has no right to enter here, so why don't you leave quickly? An inner sect disciple said arrogantly. Yun Chujio ignored him and continued picking the big and red fruits. It was just a dog barking, she couldn't be bothered. Seeing that Yun Chujio ignored him, the disciple couldn't help but feel embarrassed. Yun Chujio, did you hear what I said? Get lost quickly or I won't be polite anymore. Yun Chujio still ignored him and continued picking the fruits by herself. The disciple flew into a rage out of humiliation and flashed to stand in front of Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio walked to the left and he moved to the left. Yun Chujio moved to the right and he moved to the right. The purpose was obvious, he didn't want Yun Chujio to pick the fruits. Yun Chujio then looked at the disciple. What? Do you think that you are very awesome now that you are an inner disciple? Who was the one who was threatened by me to give up the seven-headed man-eating flower with a big kitchen knife? Let me tell you. I was able to control you back then, but I can still do it now. A good dog doesn't block the way. Get lost. It was still all right if Yun Chujio did not say these words. After she said these words, the disciple's eyes were red and filled with hatred. When he had first entered the sect, Yun Chujio had relied on the joint group to force him to hand over the seven-headed man-eating flower, which had been half attacked. He had long held a grudge against her. Now that he had caught Yun Chujio in the wrong, he naturally would not let her go. He could vent his anger and please Elder Jing at the same time. It was simply killing two birds with one stone. That disciple rolled his eyes and said to the other disciples, "Senior brothers and sisters, this teaching hall is a place exclusive to the inner disciples of Kaiyang Peak. This Yun Chujio barged in here on her own accord. Are we just going to let it go like this?" Yun Chujio thought to herself, oh, she even knows how to incite others. She wasn't too stupid. Those inner disciples first came to join in the fun, and second, they really felt that they were superior to others. This teaching hall was exclusive to them, so when that disciple incited them, they began to clamor. Junior brother Wu Shan has a point. This is the place for the inner disciples of our Kaiyang Peak. Yun Chujio, get out. A handyman has the face to come here? He really overestimates himself. Get out. Also, those spirit fruits belong to our Kaiyang Peak. You have to pay for them. Don't you have money? You have to pay us 10,000 high-grade spirit stones for one fruit. Yun Chujio looked at the crowd who were ready to attack her, and her heart was filled with joy. Pengxier was finally going to succeed. Sprinkle. The inner disciples argued for a while. When they saw Yun Chujio smiling at them without saying anything, they felt a little awkward and didn't say anything. Seeing this, the disciple Wu Shan pointed at Yun Chujio and said, Yun Chujio, you still have the face to smile. Compensate us with the money for the spiritual fruit and then get lost immediately. Yun Chujio waved at Wu Shan and said, you want to compensate us? Come and take it. Wu Shan was skeptical and didn't move. If he were to turn the spirit stones, he wouldn't need to be so close to her. What did this Yun Chujio want to do? What? As an inner disciple, are you afraid of me, a mere servant? Since you don't dare to come and take it, then you can't blame me. Yun Chujio crossed her arms and said disdainfully. Those inner sect disciples began to clamor. Junior brother Wushan, you're not really afraid of her, are you? Can she really fight? Moreover, even if she fights, can you still not beat her? Junior brother Wushan, there's still us. What are you afraid of? That's right, junior brother Wushan, if you don't go, I'll really look down on you. Although Wushan was still feeling a little uneasy, he could not resist the crowd's jeering. He could only walk in front of Yun Chujio warily. Give it to me. The corners of Yun Chujio's mouth curled up. Everyone could only see an afterimage. When they saw it clearly, Wushan was already held by a large kitchen knife at his neck. Yun Chujio, what are you doing? Hurry up and let junior brother Wushan go. Everyone cried out in surprise. They did not expect Yun Chujio to actually dare to make a move. Was she crazy? Yun Chujio restrained Wushan and then took out a thick stack of explosive talismans. All of you get away from me. Otherwise don't blame me for being ruthless. Everyone was first shocked, then someone said, Yun Chujio, who are you trying to scare? If you dare to throw one, try it. Boom. Before that person could finish his sentence, an explosive talisman exploded not far away from him. Although he was not injured, he was really scared. You are crazy. Yun Chujio shrugged her shoulders. I am not crazy, but if any of you don't know what's good for you, I might really be crazy. All of you step back. Everyone looked at each other. It was obviously not wise to compete with a madman. Although they had the advantage in numbers, that madman had such a thick stack of explosive talismans in his hands. It would not be worth it if they were to fight and get injured. Yun Chujio saw everyone step back obediently, only then did she say to Wushan, You want money from me? You're really audacious. I think you don't know what you're capable of after becoming an inner disciple. Let me help you wake up. After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she kicked Wushan to the ground, took out a rolling pin and started to beat him up. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air when they saw this. Oh my god, this darn girl was really ruthless. Fortunately, she didn't use force against her just now, or else this madman would really have blown them to death. Wushan howled miserably, Yun Chujio, you'll die a horrible death. You'll definitely be punished by the sect rules. Oh, you still dare to scold me? I will cut off your tongue and see if you still dare to talk nonsense. Yun Chujio took out a dagger and waved it in front of Wushan. Wushan was so scared that he almost fainted. You dare? Do you think I dare? Yun Chujio was about to make a move. Wushan was terrified. Yun, junior sister Yun, I was wrong. Please spare me. You were wrong? Or were you wrong? If you had said it to my satisfaction, I wouldn't have cut off your tongue. Otherwise, Yun Chujio waved the dagger in her hand. My fault is that I shouldn't speak nonsense. I shouldn't meddle in other people's business. This spirit fruit, you can pick as many as you want. Wushan saw that the dagger was getting closer and closer to him, and his face was so pale that he almost fainted. Yun Chujio shook her head. Is that all? Also, I'm a bastard. I'm a waste. I shouldn't have spoken evil words to you. Is that all? Yes, and them too. They are all meddling in other people's business and spouting nonsense. You can enter the hall of preaching as you please and pluck as many fruits as you like. Wushan was terrified. He didn't care whether he would offend his fellow disciples or not. He had to save his tongue first. The inner sect disciples of Kaiyang Peak were furious. If it wasn't for Wushan's instigation just now, would they have joined in the commotion? Now they were being blamed. Wushan was really detestable. Yun Chujio found it funny in her heart. This Wushan was really out of his mind. He would definitely not have an easy life in the future. However, she had only beaten up Wushan. Most likely he could only be locked up in the number 10 thinking cave. It was best to stir up some trouble. Otherwise she would not have achieved her target of being blackmailed. Just as Yun Chujio was worrying that the matter was too light, she heard a shout from the door. Yun Chujio, what are you doing? Hurry up and let that disciple go. Yun Chujio turned around and saw that the person who had come was Elder Jing. It was probably a message from a disciple, or he had heard the sound of the explosive talisman. When Wushan saw Elder Jing coming, he shouted with snot and tears in his eyes, Elder Jing, help! Help! Elder Jing wanted to help, but Yun Chujio's kitchen knife was pressed against Wushan's neck. He didn't dare to use force. Yun Chujio, did you hear what I said? Let him go before the big mistake is made. Elder Jing said sternly. Yun Chujia's heart skipped a beat. It was not bad to use this old man as a scapegoat. It was just enough for the entry test. However, she definitely could not beat this old man. She would just say it out loud. Elder Jing, you came at the right time. This disciple of yours spoke rudely and seriously hurt my fragile little heart. As the saying goes, a teacher's laziness cannot be taught strictly. Shouldn't you express your gratitude to me? Elder Jing could not react for a long time. He thought that with a shout, Yun Chujia would definitely release Wu Shan and admit her guilt to his face. Who would have thought that not only did Yun Chujia not release him, she even blamed him. Elder Jing pointed at himself. You blame me? Yes. I'm talking about you. Did this trash listen to your class? Since he listened to your class, you are his teacher. He is such a jerk, shouldn't you bear some responsibility? Elder Jing was almost choked by the rebuke. He pointed at Yun Chujio and said, how is he a jerk? Yun Chujio took a needle and stabbed Wu Shan's waist. Tell me yourself, how are you a bastard? Wu Shan trembled in pain. He had hoped for Elder Jing, but now it looked like he couldn't rely on anyone. He had to rely on himself. Thus Wu Shan said with a trembling voice, I'm a bastard. I'm indeed a bastard. I shouldn't have spoken ill of junior sister Yun. I shouldn't have stopped junior sister Yun from picking fruits. Elder Jing, did you hear that? He said it himself. As a teacher, shouldn't you apologize to me as well? Yun Chujio said to Elder Jing with a provocative look. Apologize to you? Is it reasonable for you to break into the Hall of Law privately? Is it reasonable for you to privately pick the spirit fruit? Is it reasonable for you to beat up your fellow disciples? Whether it was Elder Jing or those inner disciples, they were all stunned by Yun Chujia's shamelessness. How could there be such a shameless person in this world? Elder Jing had always been a prankster. He did not expect to be threatened by a small handyman today. One could imagine the anger in his heart. Elder Jing's face was gloomy. The pressure on his body rushed toward Yun Chujio. He did not expect that Yun Chujio was fine. On the contrary, Wu Shan was made to spit out a mouthful of blood by the huge pressure. Yun Chujio quickly released her hand. Oh my God, Elder Jing, are you going to kill him just because Wu Shan told the truth? Wu Shan looked at Elder Jing in disbelief. Was Elder Jing going to treat him like this just because he said something wrong? Elder Jing was so angry that his beard almost stood up. You're talking nonsense. I was obviously trying to use the pressure to force you to release him. Yun Chujio covered her ears. I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear it. Bastard scripture. Anyway, Wu Shan was injured by you. You're a petty person. You're not worthy to be their teacher at all. Bastard scripture? Elder Jing was so angry that smoke was almost coming out of his head. Impudent. You're really stubborn. This old man must teach you a good lesson today. As Elder Jing spoke, he suddenly jumped to catch Yun Chujio. He had already thought about it. No matter what face he had to teach this stupid girl a lesson no matter what. Yun Chujio was very smart. She knew that after she said this, Elder Jing would definitely make things difficult for her, so she kicked Wu Shan toward Elder Jing and then jumped out of the courtyard. This fellow shouted as he ran, "Oh no! Elder Jing is going to kill someone. Help! Help!" Elder Jing was delayed by Wu Shan for a moment. When he regained his senses, Yun Chujio had already disappeared. He could only hear her shouting. Elder Jing was so angry that he almost lost his balance. He gritted his teeth and jumped out of the courtyard, chasing after her closely. Yun Chujio had been all over the Chaos Origin Sect's blackmailers during this period of time, so she was very familiar with the roads. She especially ran to places with many people. Help! Help! Elder Jing wants to silence me. If I find out, he will kill me as well. Elder Jing, I was wrong. I promise I won't talk nonsense to others. If you want to kill your own disciple, go ahead and kill him. Don't kill me. Elder Jing, don't tell me you are still jealous of what I said during the entrance test? You are taking revenge for your own personal grudge. Isn't your conscience hurting? The ignorant disciples who didn't know the truth heard Yun Chujia's shout and then looked at the ferocious-looking Elder Jing behind her. They immediately believed more than half of it. This Elder Jing usually looked quite kind, but they didn't expect him to be so ruthless. One really couldn't judge a book by its cover. Elder Jing saw the strange looks in everyone's eyes and was so angry that he was twitching. Unfortunately, Elder Jing did not know that some things were smeared more and more. The more he said so, the more the rumor evolved. The final version even had the details. Moreover, the disciples of the primordial chaos sect could communicate with each other using their identity jade tokens. 1 spread 10, 10 spread 100. Soon, more than half of the people of the primordial chaos sect knew of this version. Elder Jing had taken a fancy to a female disciple with a very good figure. He had failed in his pursuit and wanted to silence her, but Yun Chujio had caught him. Now Elder Jing was chasing after Yun Chujio. The identity jade token of Elder Jing, who was chasing after her relentlessly, kept popping out messages. Moreover, the voice transmission talisman in his storage ring kept ringing. Elder Jing sent his spiritual sense in Elder Yuan. Old Jing, even if you want an old tree to bloom, you have to be more reserved. It's fine if the disciple is unwilling, but you actually want to silence her? Has your conscience been eaten by a dog? Elder Ling Hu said, Old Jing, what's going on? I always thought you were a gentleman, but I didn't expect you to have designs on the female disciple. A rabbit doesn't eat grass near its nest. You really are. Mountain Master He of Yuheng Peak said, Old Jing, you've done something wrong, so how can you still go after the little girl? If you know your mistake, you should change it. Stop it now. Mountain Master Zhua of Tianji Peak said, Old Jing, if you want to pursue that female disciple, then you should do it properly. Why are you chasing Yun Chujio? Although Yun Chujio has studied the pairing of snow jade silkworms, she's not the moon elder, so she can't help you. Elder Jing was so angry that he fell off the sword. Fortunately, he had high spiritual power, so he used a few big trees to stabilize himself. However, his hair was also scattered and his clothes were dirty. He couldn't care less about these things. He rode the sword again and continued to chase after Yun Chujio. His eyes were red and he only had one goal in mind, and that was to kill Yun Chujio to vent his anger. Now, whatever sect rules or seniority, all of them should get lost. He had to kill that stupid girl who spouted nonsense today. Yun Chujio heard the rumor that Jin Ji had told her using her identity jade token. She laughed so hard that she almost fell off the chopping board. This fellow knew that Elder Jing must be mad. There was only one person who could save her now, and that was Master Bailey. Thus, this fellow flew to Dubhe Peak in a hurry. Master Bailey, save me. Elder Jing wants to kill me to silence me. Yun Chujio knew that Master Bailey usually worked in the meeting hall, so she ran into the meeting hall as if she was being chased by a dog. As the sect master of a sect, Master Bailey naturally had many spies. He had already received the report since the matter was so big. However, he only knew a little about it. He didn't know about the law enforcement hall of Shuangyang Peak. He only knew that Elder Jing was crazily chasing after Yun Chujio. What exactly happened? Why is Elder Jing chasing after you? Master Bailey felt a headache. It seemed that Yun Chujio had just come out of the cave of reflection on the 15th a few days ago. Why did she commit another crime? Master Bailey, let's talk about what happened slowly. Can I stand beside you? Otherwise, when Elder Jing comes in later, he will definitely kill me. Although this guy was asking a question, he had already jumped behind Master Bailey. This guy knew that if the matter was blown up, that old man Jing would definitely be red-eyed. It was better to find an umbrella. Master Bailey was about to say something when he saw Elder Jing rush in with disheveled hair and a few leaves on the top of his head. He was in a very sorry state. Master Bailey managed to hold back his laughter with great difficulty and coughed. Elder Jing, how did you end up like this? Elder Jing saw Yun Chujio poking her head out from behind Master Bailey and was so angry that he was trembling. Master, let's talk about the details later. If you hand Yun Chujio over to me, I will definitely kill her today. Master Bailey coughed unhappily. Elder Jing, since you are so emotional, I will not pursue the matter of your insolence. Even if Yun Chujio made a big mistake, she will be dealt with according to the sect rules. As an elder, how can you kill a disciple privately? When Elder Jing heard Master Bailey's words, he was angry, stifled, and a little wronged. He had never been so cowardly in his life. Just as Elder Jing was about to argue, a few people came to the main hall in a hurry. Besides the 6 peak masters, there were also a few senior elders. Needless to say, they were all here to watch the show. Elder Yuan saw Elder Jing's embarrassed look and laughed so hard that he fell back and forth. Old Master Jing, no wonder that female disciple looked down on you. Look at your honor, you're like a beggar. Elder Jing was already full of anger. Hearing Elder Yuan's teasing, how could he bear it? He immediately gave Elder Yuan a slap. You're spouting nonsense. Elder Yuan also had a fiery temper. How could he just let it go? You old fart. You're indecent yourself, and you still have the cheek to vent your anger on me? Seems that you need a beating. I've wanted to teach you a lesson for a long time. The two old men immediately started fighting in the meeting hall. Although they didn't use their spiritual power, their destructive power wasn't small either. The tables and chairs were overturned and the teacups were smashed into pieces. The meeting hall was in a mess. Master Bailey turned around and glared at the culprit. Yun Chujio shrank her neck and didn't dare to make a sound. Under Master Bailey's shout, Elder Yuan and Elder Jing finally stopped. Perhaps because he had vented some of his anger, Elder Jing calmed down a little. After fixing his hair and using the cleaning spell, he was finally not in such a sorry state. What's going on? Yun Chujio, go downstairs and tell me everything. Master Bailey turned around and glared at Yun Chujio again. Yun Chujio pursed her lips and could only take small steps to go downstairs. She was afraid that Elder Jing would suddenly lose his temper, so she stood beside Elder Yuan. She felt that this old man was more reliable. Elder Yuan was indeed on the right track. He said loudly, "Little girl, don't be afraid. Tell me everything. With me here, that old thing won't dare to touch you." Thank you, Elder Yuan. I knew there were still many good people in this world. Yun Chujio started to put on a high hat. Elder Yuan nodded in satisfaction. Tell me what exactly happened. Which female disciple did that old bastard take a fancy to? Yun Chujio shook her head in confusion. Female disciple? Wu Shan is a man. What? The crowd looked at Elder Jing with even more strange gazes. Could this old fart have some unspeakable hobby? No wonder he wanted to silence her. Elder Jing was not stupid. He almost fainted from anger when he saw the crowd's gazes. If Yun Chujio had not hidden behind Elder Yuan, he would have strangled her to death. You tell me the whole story. How outrageous, how infuriating. Elder Jing felt that he should have thought of a way to prevent this scourge from entering the sect. It was a mistake, a step at a time. Yun Chujio shrunk her neck. Am I not speaking now? Why are you in such a hurry? If you weren't so hot-tempered, we wouldn't have ended up like this, would we? Elder Jing finally suppressed the urge to kill someone and roared, Speak quickly. Don't talk nonsense. All right, just speak. It's like this. When I was strolling around, I discovered that the spirit fruits in the Shuangyang Peak Dharma Hall had ripened. I thought that it would be a waste if I didn't pick the fruits, so I planned to give them to the sect master, the peak masters, and the elders to have a taste. Elder Jing almost puked out of anger. This little girl was really too shameless. He even gave them to the sect master? To the peak master? Pooey. She was clearly craving for them. Master Bailey and the others naturally knew that Yun Chujio was lying, but no one exposed her. They just listened to her continue. I just picked a few and the class of the Hall of Teaching ended. As you all know, Elder Jing and I weren't too happy about the entrance exam, so Elder Jing ignored me and left. Unexpectedly, one of Elder Jing's disciples, Wu Shan, scolded me out of boredom. It was nothing more than derogatory remarks about me being a handyman or something, and he even tried to extort my spirit stones. As you all know, I'm willing to sacrifice my life and money, so of course I won't give it to him. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. This guy was still self-aware. He was indeed willing to sacrifice his life and money. Yun Chujio continued. When that Wu Shan saw that I didn't give in, he instigated the rest of the people to gang up on me. I'm so weak. If they gang up on me, wouldn't I be dead? So I struck first to gain the upper hand. Puff cough, I beat that Wu Shan up. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched again. Those disciples weren't stupid. How could they risk being punished to gang up on you? You were the one who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. Originally, that Wu Shan had already admitted his mistake after being influenced by me. I didn't expect Elder Jing to appear. He scolded me without even asking the truth. I couldn't hold back my little temper at that time. I pointed out that I couldn't teach him the laziness of a strict teacher. If Wu Shan made a mistake, he would also bear the blame. I didn't expect him to be so angry out of humiliation that he injured Wu Shan with his coercion. I saw that he was so ruthless. If I didn't run, wouldn't I be waiting for death? So I ran and he chased after me. That was the whole process. Yun Chujio spread out her hands after saying that, indicating that she was very innocent. Mountain Master, he asked in puzzlement, then why did everyone say that Elder Jing pursued a female disciple and killed her to silence her? In the end you caught him, so he wanted to kill you? Yun Chujio shook her head in confusion. Heaven and earth have a conscience. I only said that Elder Jing did something indescribable. I was referring to him using his aura to injure Wushan. I didn't say anything about a female disciple. Indescribable things? The corners of everyone's eyes twitched violently again. You said it ambiguously, so naturally, it would make people think that this little girl was too much of a troublemaker and was crafty and cunning. No wonder Elder Jing was so angry that he really needed to be taught a lesson. Elder Yuan glared fiercely at Yun Chujio. Nonsense. The teaching hall was originally a place for inner sect disciples to listen to the law. What would a handyman like you do there? Moreover, the spiritual fruits there are picked by specialists. How can they be picked casually? You actually injured an inner sect disciple and provoked an inner sect elder. It's an unpardonable crime. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. You taught me a lesson. I know my mistake. However, if Elder Jing told me properly, I would naturally know my mistake. Who asked him to scold me when he came up? He even planned to kill me with his coercion. I think he will seek revenge for the smallest grievance. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. You're spouting nonsense. When did I scold you? I only asked you to let Wushan go, Elder Jing said angrily. Yun Chujio pouted. Anyway, your mouth is big but my mouth is small. Whatever you say is fine. Elder Jing was so angry that his head was buzzing. This wretched girl was really too crafty. When she said this, anyone who heard it would think that he was bullying others. Seeing this, Master Bailey rubbed the space between his eyebrows and coughed. Yun Chujio, it's wrong for you to intrude into the Hall of Law. It's wrong for you to steal the spirit fruit. It's also wrong for you to beat up an inner sect disciple. It's even worse for you to provoke and slander Elder Jing. Do you know your mistake? I know my mistake. When I ran away just now, I read the sect rules. I should go to number 12 to reflect on my mistakes. However, I feel that I have committed a great sin. I must learn from my mistakes. Please punish me to reflect on the 14th for 2 months. Yun Chujio said with her head drooping. Master Bailey thought that Yun Chujio would try to defend herself. He didn't expect that not only did she plead guilty, but she also asked for a heavier punishment. Could this little girl have gone crazy intermittently? Could it be that she had gone crazy just now and was fine now? Master Bailey didn't know that this fellow felt that she might not be able to bear the pain in the number 16 meditation cave, and number 15 had been damaged by her, so he could only go to the number 14 meditation cave. Seeing that Master Bailey didn't say anything, Elder Jing snorted. Master, you won't protect this little girl, will you? Master Bailey looked at him unhappily. Elder Jing, as an elder of a sect, how can you speak ill of her? Yun Chujio had made a mistake, so naturally I will not protect her. However, the punishment in the Cave of Reflection on the 14th is a little too heavy. What do you think? Master Bailey looked at Mountain Master He and the others, wanting to hear their opinions. Mountain Master He was straightforward and immediately said, last time, this little girl was still alive and kicking in the Cave of Reflection on the 15th for 2 months, right? The 14th shouldn't be a problem either. She has committed many crimes, so she should be punished even more. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. She had jumped far away from him for nothing, and he didn't even try to talk to her. Although she didn't need to, it comforted her a little. While this guy was cursing in her heart, the other mountain masters spoke up one after another. None of them tried to talk to her, and even Mountain Master Zhua of Tianji Peak didn't try to talk to her. This was because everyone had the same thought as Mountain Master He. Firstly, it wouldn't kill her to go to the Cave of Reflection on the 14th. Secondly, this little girl was too wicked and she should be taught a lesson. Elder Jing, who was at the side, felt a little better. Before Master Bailey could express his opinion, Yun Chujio sniffled. Sect Master, the seniors are right. I was too reckless. Please send me to the number 14 Reflection Cave. In addition, I will publicly apologize to Elder Jing and restore his reputation. Everyone was quite surprised by Yun Chujio's last sentence, especially Elder Jing. Master Bailey nodded his head in gratification. It's great that you can correct your mistakes. How about this, Elder Yuan? Take Yun Chujio to the Shadow Stone in the Square of Origin to apologize, and then send her to the law enforcement office. Elder Yuan nodded his head in agreement and the crowd dispersed. Elder Yuan led Yun Chujio in front, while Elder Jing followed behind angrily. He didn't think that Yun Chujio would really apologize, so he planned to follow her to take a look. Yun Chujio kept shouting along the way, from the south to the north. I'm going to the Mixed Origin Square to apologize. Those who want to go take a look, hurry up and occupy the place. If you're late, you won't be able to see anything new. Elder Yuan and Elder Jing were dumbfounded. This was the first time they had seen an apology made with such a big fanfare. This Yun Chujio was simply too thick-skinned. The crowd had long been watching the commotion in the meeting hall. Now that they heard Yun Chujio's clamor, they naturally all ran to the Chaos Square. Since the Chaos Square was big enough, there was no need to be afraid of not being able to stand. When Yun Chujio arrived with Elder Yuan, there were already quite a number of people standing in the primordial Chaos Square. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. It seemed that the life of the primordial chaos sex amateur culture was very lacking. There were actually so many people here to listen to her apology. It was really a pain in the ass to have so much free time. There were already disciples who had prepared the Shadow Stone long ago. When Yun Chujio apologized, they would record the entire process. At that time, they would play it repeatedly in the primordial chaos square for a few days. This way, Elder Jing's reputation would be restored. Yun Chujio walked to the high platform opposite the Shadow Stone and coughed. Everyone quiet down. I'm going to apologize. Everyone quieted down and looked at Yun Chujio, who was standing on the high platform. Yun Chujio felt that this feeling was not bad. It was the focus of everyone's attention. Unfortunately, she was here to apologize. If she was here to brag or something, it would be pretty awesome. Fellow disciples, I am here today to apologize. But before I apologize, let me introduce myself first. I am Yun Chujio, a handyman from the Big Kitchen. Although I am only at the 6th level of the Lingxian realm, my eyes do not rub sand. If anyone dares to provoke me, even if they are inner sect disciples, I will still beat them up. I have already gone to the Cave of Reflection several times. As the saying goes, once you are new, twice you are familiar. If any of you are not afraid of being beaten up, feel free to provoke me. I will welcome you all at any time. Also, if anyone speaks ill of me behind my back and I hear it, I'll kill you. Elder Jing was so angry that he almost passed out. Was this an apology? She was clearly here to flaunt her power. Just as Elder Jing was about to speak, he heard Yun Chujio change the topic and said, "All right, what happened before is irrelevant. Today I'm mainly apologizing to Elder Jing. As a handyman, I shouldn't yell at Elder Jing. I shouldn't speak ill of him, and I shouldn't say ambiguous words to mislead everyone. There has never been a female disciple. The disciple I'm talking about is a man named Wu Shan. I sincerely apologize to Elder Jing now. I've let you down. I shouldn't go around spouting nonsense. Please forgive me and forgive me." As soon as Yun Chujio finished her words, the crowd in the square exploded. What? So Elder Jing likes that Wu Shan? He actually likes a male disciple? Oh my god. No wonder that disciple didn't agree. It's too scary. Let's stay away from Elder Jing in the future. Get lost. With your appearance, Elder Jing doesn't like you either. Elder Jing choked and fainted. Yun Chujio, you've lost your virtue for 8 lifetimes. Elder Yuan couldn't care less about the displeasure between the two of them. He quickly fed Elder Jing a pill, and only then did Elder Jing wake up. Elder Yuan glared fiercely at Yun Chujio, who was on the stage. Yun Chujio shrunk her neck. She said loudly, "You people. What are you thinking about? Let me tell you in detail the process. It's like this. I was originally going to the Hall of Dharma to pick the spirit fruit. After listening to Yun Chujio's explanation, the crowd realized that they had misunderstood. They looked embarrassed. It was not their fault. The main reason was that Yun Chujio's words were too easy to misunderstand. Yun Chujio had a righteous look on her face, but the villain in her heart was rolling around in laughter. She had finally taken revenge for what she had done back then. Humph, it was never too late for little Jio to take revenge. Elder Jing had woken up by now. Although he hated Yun Chujio to death, he couldn't say anything in public. He glared at Yun Chujio fiercely, then rode his sword and left. Elder Jing had just flown into the air when he heard the little girl say proudly, "One last thing, I'll do whatever I want in the future. Whoever dares to provoke me who owes me, I'll kill you." Elder Jing's body swayed and he almost fell off the flying sword again. He could see that this little girl's apology was fake, but she was really here to show off. However, this little girl was really brainless. Her arrogance must have caused a lot of people to be dissatisfied, and they would definitely find trouble with her. She was really stupid. How could he have known that a certain Jiao had done this on purpose to attract some hatred so that she would be able to get away with it? A certain Jiao jumped off the high platform and walked to Elder Yuan's side. "Elder Yuan, let's go." "Well, go to the law enforcement office." After walking for a distance, Elder Yuan could no longer hold it in and said with a straight face, "You little girl is good at everything, but your personality is too flamboyant. Your words just now will definitely attract the displeasure of many people." After hearing that, Yun Chujia's impression of Elder Yuan became even better. She said with a smile, "It's okay. I know what to do." Elder Yuan saw Yun Chujia's stubborn look and shook his head. He would know when she had suffered a few losses. Young people still thought things were too simple. Elder Yuan handed Yun Chujio over to the law enforcement office and passed on the results of Master Bailey's punishment. Then he left. When the law enforcement disciples saw that Yun Chujio had committed another crime, they were speechless. They remembered that when Yun Chujio first came, she had said that she would come often in the future. They did not expect that her words had come true. Elder Chu had people bring the document to escort Yun Chujio to the Cave of Reflection. When the small leader of the teleportation formation saw that Yun Chujio had come again, he was overjoyed. Damn it, the Lady of Fortune had come again. The first time they met, the second time they became familiar with each other. This time both sides were like old friends meeting. The small leader, "Yo, junior sister Yun, you're here again? What crime did you commit this time?" A certain Jiao, "Don't mention it. I didn't do anything. I just beat up an inner sect disciple and made Elder Jing dizzy from anger. Do you think this is a problem?" The little leader, "Isn't this a problem? You're really courting death." In all these years he had never seen anyone who would come to think every now and then. Moreover, this person was smiling as if he was going somewhere. Yun Chujio stood in the middle of the teleportation array with familiarity. "Come on, go early and come back early." The little leader was already powerless to complain. He activated the teleportation array and sent Yun Chujio to the number 14 meditation cave. When Yun Chujio arrived at the number 14 meditation cave, it was completely silent inside. A certain Jiao quickly began to dig the cave in case the wind blades arrived and she was in trouble. However, after 4 hours there was no movement inside the cave. Not even a single wind blade, let alone thunder and lightning. This fellow could not help but feel a little guilty. Could it be that she had made a breakthrough in the number 15 meditation cave last time and caused the number 14 meditation cave to be damaged? That was not right. Although there was no thunder and lightning in the number 15 meditation cave, there were wind blades. It did not make sense that there was nothing in the number 14 meditation cave. Yun Chujio thought for a moment. Perhaps the interval between number 14's thoughts was quite long, so she decided to wait a little longer. After a day, there was still no sound inside number 14's thoughts cave. It was just like an ordinary cave. There were no wind blades or lightning at all. Damn it. She was extremely unlucky. She reckoned that number 14's thoughts cave was a defective product. That's right, this number was unlucky. She had requested to go to number 13 meditation cave at that time. Now what should she do? This fellow rolled her eyes. If she told the truth, the higher-ups would definitely send people down to check it out. Who knows, they might even check out the other meditation caves. In that case, wouldn't she be exposed? Therefore it was better to stay still. Therefore this guy let the 3 in his dantian spit out lightning spiritual power. She would use it to cultivate. Although the 3 were unwilling, they still agreed. Soon half a month passed. Yun Chujio felt that haste makes waste. She should stop for a while, so this guy decided to refine pills. In the outside world, she was afraid that the heaven-grade pills refined by the heaven and earth furnace would cause trouble, so she never refined them again. Guai Chao was especially edible, so there were not many heaven-grade pills left in her hands. The meditation cave was just right to isolate the smell, and it should not be able to attract heavenly lightning. Of course, if it could attract heavenly lightning, it would be a pleasant surprise. Therefore this guy took out the heaven and earth furnace and began to refine pills. Yun Chujia's spiritual sense transmitted the sound of a baby babbling. It was the heaven and earth furnace's Qi Ling expressing its joy. Using the heaven and earth furnace to refine pills was simply too easy. As long as the medicinal herbs were thrown inside, the Qi Ling would naturally help refine them. Moreover, the pills that came out were all heaven-grade pills. Yun Chujia thought to herself, no wonder the gigolo had instructed her not to let anyone discover the heaven and earth furnace. If this was found out by others, they would definitely kill them and steal their treasures. This fellow refined pills one furnace after another, completely unaware that the entire primordial chaos sect had already exploded. The people of the primordial chaos sect had originally been living and cultivating according to schedule. However, they suddenly discovered that the spiritual qi of the entire primordial chaos sect had begun to weaken. How was this possible? Everyone from Master Bailey to the handyman in the kitchen were terrified. One had to know that the spiritual energy was the foundation of establishing a sect. If the primordial chaos sect lost its spiritual energy, then it would be on the verge of extermination. Thus, everyone hurriedly searched for the reason. Very quickly, everyone discovered something strange. On the back mountain of Dubhe Peak, there was a visible cluster of spiritual energy circling above, and the spiritual energy of the primordial chaos sect was still continuously gathering there. Master Bailey and the 6 Peak Masters tried to approach the cluster of spiritual energy. However, the power of the cluster of spiritual energy was extremely strong, and the edges were like wind blades. There was no way to approach it. Something was definitely wrong. There must be something below that was attracting the spiritual energy. If they didn't figure it out, the future of the primordial chaos sect would be bleak. Master Bailey had no choice but to invite the 4 supreme elders of the primordial chaos sect. These 4 supreme elders could be said to be the anchor of the primordial chaos sect. Unless the primordial chaos sect had an extremely important matter, they would never appear. When the 4 supreme elders arrived at the back of the mountain, they immediately frowned. They had lived for so many years, but they had never seen such a strange situation. Could it be that there were heavenly treasures or immortal beasts and divine beasts underground? Or perhaps, there was some evil way to absorb spiritual power? Or demonic plants? When everyone saw that the 4 supreme elders had no idea what to do, they immediately sank into a gloomy cloud. How would Alchemy 9 know that she could make such a big fuss just by refining a simple pill? Therefore, this fellow kept stuffing medicinal herbs into the heaven and earth universal furnace. In any case, there would be ready-made pills coming out soon. It was simply too convenient, wasn't it? This fellow did not idle around either. He took advantage of this time to start drawing talismans. The more the better. Who knows when it might come in handy? This fellow was acting like a demon below. The upper echelons of the primordial chaos sect were so worried that their hair was almost turning white. However, good news did not go out, but bad news spread far and wide. When the primordial chaos sect's archenemy, the Killing Origin sect, heard about this, it was simply a celebration for the entire sect. It was almost as if they were beating drums and gongs to send their Master Xiaohou over to see the joke of the primordial chaos sect. Master Xiaohou of the Killing Origin sect came to visit in a high-profile manner. Although Master Bailey was in a terrible state right now, he could only pretend to be indifferent and nothing happened to him to deal with him. Tisgeyi Master Bailey, the spiritual chi of your primordial chaos sect used to be quite dense. Why has it become so dull now? Could it be that something has happened? Master Xiaohou asked despite knowing the answer. Master Bailey knew that the primordial killing sect had spies in the primordial chaos sect, so he did not hide it. He said with a faint smile, "Indeed, something has happened. However, before the matter is clear, it can't be said to be a bad thing. Maybe it's a good thing." Master Xiaohou thought to himself, what a stubborn duck. With a fake smile, he said, "Master Bailey, at this time don't hang in there. I am here to help you. I see that your primordial chaos sect's spiritual essence will be exhausted sooner or later, and our 2 sects have a good relationship. Why don't we merge?" Master Bailey took a sip of tea. Merge? How do you want to merge? Of course, your primordial chaos sect will be merged into our Shi Yuan sect. That way you won't have to be homeless. Don't worry. When the time comes, I'll let you be the deputy sect master of our Shi Yuan sect, Master Xiaohou said proudly. Master Bailey couldn't wait to slap the teacup in his hand on Master Xiaohu's face. Master Xiaohu snorted coldly and said, to take a step back, even if the spiritual qi of the primordial chaos sect can't be recovered, our primordial chaos sect will find another place. Master Xiaohu, you don't have to worry about it. Master Xiaohu curled his lips. You really are a stubborn duckling looking for another place? Other than the territory of our killing origin sect, how could the immortal essence continent be comparable to this place? Let me give you a piece of advice. Aren't we cultivating for the great Tao of longevity? Why bother with some minor details? Joining our killing origin sect will only bring benefits and no harm. Master Bailey was already very troubled these few days. Now that Master Xiaohu was making sarcastic remarks, one could imagine the degree of depression in his heart. Master Bailey barely suppressed the urge to beat Master Xiaohu up. Master Xiaohu, our primordial chaos sect appreciates your kindness. When something similar happens to your murderous origin sect, our primordial chaos sect will follow suit. I still have things to do, so I won't stay any longer. Please. Humph. This kind of thing won't happen to our murderous origin sect. If you ask me, your primordial chaos sect must have done something that angered the heavens. Otherwise, why would you be punished by the heavens? Xiaohu, don't go too far. I have already tolerated you for a long time on account that you came from afar as a guest. Someone send the guest out. Master Bailey could no longer maintain his cordial appearance. This Xiaohu was a piece of trash that deserved a beating. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Master Xiaohu sneered. Bailey Yin, aren't you used to putting on airs? Why aren't you putting on airs this time? Humph. Catching up isn't a business. There will come a day when you beg me. After Master Xiaohu finished speaking, he arrogantly took his men and left. Master Bailey was so angry that he smashed his teacup into pieces. However, he knew that being angry wouldn't solve the problem. After calming himself down, he invited 4 Supreme Elders and 6 Peak Masters to discuss countermeasures. For now, it is best to find out what is underneath the spirit energy ball. Only then can we find the right medicine, said a Supreme Elder. However, that spirit energy ball is extremely overbearing. How can we find out what is underneath it? Master Bailey asked with a frown. Everyone immediately fell silent. Yes, it was very difficult to get close to it. How could they find out what was underneath it? Just as everyone was frowning, they felt that the room had suddenly turned dark. Everyone was shocked and hurriedly left the meeting hall. They saw that the sky was filled with dark clouds, and there was also an endless stream of dark clouds gathering towards the Hunyuan sect. Wu Yun and Master Bailey were in the middle of the meeting hall. To be precise, they were gathering towards the place where the spirit energy ball was. Master Bailey inexplicably thought of Master Xiaohu's words. Could it really be heaven's punishment? But the primordial chaos sect had been peaceful recently. How could it be a heavenly punishment? Although Master Bailey's heart was in turmoil, he still quickly gave the order for all the disciples to quickly gather at the primordial chaos square. This was because the primordial chaos square had an ancient array formation. Even if heavenly lightning fell, it could temporarily keep everyone safe. Therefore, everyone in the primordial chaos sect dropped what they were doing and ran to the primordial chaos square. Even the people guarding the teleportation array at the Sigua cave also ran to the primordial chaos square. That little leader suddenly slapped his thigh. Oh no. There was still the goddess of wealth in the reflection cave. However, when he looked at the thick Wu Yun in the sky and felt the increasingly heavy pressure, he still could not move his legs. Sorry, goddess of wealth, you can count on yourself. However, the reflection cave was protected by the array, so it should not be affected. Coincidentally, Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu were about to break through these few days, so they had been in closed-door cultivation. If they had not received the news of the identity jade token, the two of them would have been in closed-door cultivation for a few more days. The two of them rushed to the mixed origin square while sending a voice transmission talisman to Yun Chujio. The two of them were not too worried. After all, little Jiu liked to be struck by lightning. Perhaps she was so happy that she had to come out. When the two of them rushed to the mixed origin square, Yun Chujio's voice transmission talisman had also arrived. Jin Ji used her spiritual sense to probe inside. Yun Chujio's excited voice came from inside. What? Heavenly lightning is coming? Quick, get someone to let me out. I want to be struck by lightning to my heart's content. Only then did Jinji come to her senses. Perhaps the reflection cave was isolated from heavenly lightning, so she had to get little Jiu out. Jinji immediately saw the small leader guarding the teleportation array. She hurriedly ran over and said, "Senior brother, little Jiu is still inside the cave of reflection. Hurry up and let her out. Otherwise something will happen." The small leader said guiltily, "Junior sister, this is not up to me to decide. To let her go, you need a document from the law enforcement office. Go and look for the law enforcement office first." Jinji had no choice but to look for Elder Chu from the law enforcement office. Fortunately, everyone had almost arrived at the mixed origin square, so they didn't have to expend too much effort to find it. After Jinji explained the matter, Elder Chu didn't decline and directly went to see Master Bailey. Master Bailey was just about to speak when countless purple heavenly lightning struck toward the back of the Tianshu Peak. Master Bailey was shocked and quickly ordered someone to activate the ancient formation. There is an ancient formation inside the Cave of Reflection. Yunchuju will be fine. Moreover, the teleportation formation leading to the Cave of Reflection must pass through the area where lightning strikes. For the time being, it is impossible to pass through. So tell her to stay in the Cave of Reflection in peace. Master Bailey said after pondering. Jinji was depressed. If it was an ordinary person, it would naturally be the best choice to stay in the cave. Unfortunately, Hei Shinjo loved being struck by lightning the most. If she couldn't get out, she would definitely be so depressed that she wanted to bang her head against the wall. Sure enough, when Jinji told Yunchujio the result, she received a scolding from Yunchujio. "Damn that little leader, he's just an ingrate. To think that I gave him so many spirit stones and he actually ran away without caring about me. Wait for me to get out, see how I'll deal with him. And that old man Bailey, he doesn't know how to care about his disciple at all, and actually allowed me to stay in the reflection cave and not care about him." The corner of Jinji's eyes twitched. "This isn't all thanks to Master Bailey, he's been in a terrible state recently. I've only just heard that a lot of our primordial chaos sex spirit chi has disappeared for some unknown reason. I heard that a huge ball of spiritual energy has formed at the back of the Tianshu Peak. It seems that the heavenly lightning is heading towards that ball of spiritual energy. Since you can't come out, just stay inside. I reckon that the heavenly lightning will end very soon. At that time I will beg Master Bailey to let you out." Yunchuji's muffled voice came from the voice transmission talisman. "Alright, you guys be careful too." Yunchujio put down the voice transmission talisman and rubbed her chin, pondering. A huge ball of spiritual power? Could it be that a treasure was about to appear? No way. Whether it was for the treasure or for the heavenly lightning, she had to go out. Since she couldn't teleport out, then she would dig out. Perhaps this place was very close to the outside and she would be able to get out in an instant. This guy did it without hesitation. Moreover, he had learned from the previous lesson. This time the angle was slightly higher so that he could dig out faster. This guy had just dug a short distance away. It was unknown if it was a coincidence or if the heavenly lightning was to strike her, but the tunnel collapsed by the heavenly lightning. This made Hei Shinju extremely happy. She climbed out against the heavenly lightning to take a look. There was indeed a huge ball of spiritual energy not far away, but the ball of spiritual energy was rapidly shrinking. This guy's face stiffened. Why did this ball of spirit energy seem to be at the position of the Cave of Reflection on the 14th? Could it be that the treasure in her heart was not herself? This fellow slapped her thigh as she thought about it. Damn it. It must be because she had been refining pills with the heaven and earth furnace for the past few days that there was a large amount of spirit energy gathering. This heavenly lightning must have been attracted by the pill refining. This fellow was dancing with joy. She felt that she had discovered something extraordinary. Using the heaven and earth furnace to concoct pills could actually attract heavenly lightning. Then would she still have to worry about not being struck by heavenly lightning in the future? After figuring out the sequence of events, what she needed to do now was naturally to enjoy the baptism of the heavenly lightning. This fellow lay sprawled on the ground feeling really blissful. This heavenly lightning strike was still more comfortable. It was countless times stronger than the heavenly lightning in the Sigua cave. This fellow also brought out the Xiao Hanyo and Xiao Mogu, and the three perverts began to happily suffer the lightning strike. Wu Yun in the sky had a face full of confusion. Originally, it had used the heavenly lightning to punish someone because someone had refined a large number of heaven-grade medicinal pills. At the beginning it had not been able to find the culprit, so it was a little flustered. It had finally hacked the culprit out of the ground with great difficulty, and originally thought that it would be able to complete the mission very quickly. But now who could tell it what the 3 perverts on the ground were? Why couldn't it be hacked to death? Hey Yun Chujio, can you be more professional? Chop it quickly. We are waiting. Yun Chujio said unhappily when she saw that the lightning had become a little sparse. Wu Yun heard Yun Chujio's provocation and could not be bothered to be puzzled anymore. He continued to chop her again. He only had one goal, and that was to chop this annoying little girl to death. It feels good. Feels really good. I haven't felt this good in a long time. Come again. A certain Jiao let out a satisfied sigh. Wu Yun was so angry that he was trembling. No wonder No Yun was willing to come when he accepted the mission today. They must have known that there was a pervert here. He was too naive. He actually thought that this was a very easy mission. Ooh, this was actually a pit. It was a 10,000-year-old pit. The dark clouds struck for more than 6 hours, but they were still unable to kill a certain Jiao. A certain Jiao could only give up and retreat dejectedly. A certain Jiao saw that the dark clouds had retreated, and only then did she remember an important question. How was she going to end this? A huge deep pit had already been struck on the ground, and the bottom of the deep pit was directly connected to number 14's reflection hole. As long as someone went down to the bottom of the deep pit, they would discover number 14's reflection hole. A certain Jiao blinked her eyes. This was not necessarily a bad thing. She could just push the blame of number 14's reflection cave to heavenly thunder. Moreover, if she found out about number 15's reflection cave in the future, she could also shift the blame to heavenly thunder. Heavenly thunder was really cute. Could help her level up and also help her take the blame. It was great. Yun Chujio thought for a while and then returned to number 14's reflection cave. She lay on the ground and pretended to be dead. This guy was thinking well. Just as he was pretending to be dead, he heard a loud bang followed by a cracking sound. This guy didn't care about pretending to be dead anymore. He quickly got up and was surprised to find that the wall, which she had cut a hole in, was strangely restored to its original state. This guy was stunned for a while. This wall had a self-recovery function? However, this wasn't a bad thing. It was better to avoid trouble. If no one found out, it would save trouble in the future. Therefore, this guy took out a voice transmission talisman and wanted to tell Jinji that he was safe. Unexpectedly, the storage ring couldn't be opened. Her heart sank, and then she found that her spiritual power was restrained. Her spiritual power was restrained, which meant that she couldn't take out the big kitchen knife. Without the big kitchen knife, how could she go out? She had a bad premonition in her heart. It was likely that the teleportation array wouldn't be able to teleport her out. Could it be that she was going to die in the no? 14 Reflection Cave? On the other side, the people in the mixed origin square realized that the spiritual power was slowly recovering. They couldn't help but be overjoyed. Moreover, the Wu Yun had all retreated. The sun shone down directly as if everything had returned to normal. Everyone cheered as if they had survived a disaster. After Master Bailey and the others closed the ancient array, they rushed directly to the back mountain of Dubhe Peak. Their purpose was naturally to check the spiritual chi ball. When they arrived, only a small part of the spiritual chi ball was left, and it was still dissipating rapidly. It was believed that it would soon disappear. Not far away from the spiritual chi ball, there was a huge pit. Obviously, it had been struck by lightning. Everyone jumped down to take a look. They only saw that it was dark inside and did not find anything unusual. Master Bailey sent people to dig the deep pit and the place where the spirit energy ball gathered. They did not find anything unusual. At this time, Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu came to see Master Bailey with red eyes. Master, the sound transmission talisman we sent to little Jiao has failed. She must be in danger. Let her out quickly. Jin Ji cried. Master Bailey did not take it to heart. He thought that this must be a trick that Yun Chujio, that little girl, wanted to be released in advance. However, he still asked the people from the law enforcement office to let Yun Chujio out. The little leader who was guarding the teleportation array was a little guilty. He knew that according to Yun Chujia's temper, she would definitely teach him a lesson when she came out. Therefore he began to form seals while trembling in fear. He did not expect that nothing was sent out. The little leader comforted Jinji, "Maybe the wind blade is blowing right now. After an hour I will try again." After an hour the little leader formed seals again, but nothing was sent out. 2 hours passed, but it still did not succeed. This time not only Jinji was panicking, but the little leader was also panicking. If this Yun Chujiu really died, it would be hard for him to escape responsibility. However, even if she was dead, there should at least be a corpse? Why was there nothing? Jinji anxiously went to find Master Bailey. Originally he was just a small handyman, so how could Master Bailey take him to heart? However, Yun Chujiu frequently went to his place to brush her face, and because of the Divine Devil Hall, Master Bailey was still quite attentive. Immediately they really went to the teleportation array of the reflection cave to check. The little leader told them about the matter, and Jinji took the initiative to ask to go in to check. The little leader smiled bitterly and said, "If there are people in the reflection cave, the others can't be teleported in." In order to make Jinji believe him, the little leader called over a disciple on duty. Sure enough, there was no way to teleport in. Jinji and Yi Binjia's faces were pale. What should they do? Could they only wait? Master Bailey was also frowning. The recent events in the Primordial Chaos sect were all strange and bizarre. Why was this reflection cave abnormal? He had no choice but to invite the 4 Supreme Elders out again to ask for the method to save Yun Chujiu. The 4 Supreme Elders shook their heads repeatedly. Since the sect was founded, the Cave of Reflection has existed. Even the teleportation array was left behind from ancient times. Therefore there's nothing we can do. When Jinji heard this, she immediately felt her head buzzing. Fortunately, Yun Chujiu often had such incidents, so she had some mental resilience. And Feng had no choice but to tell the news to Di Baiming. When the people of the Primordial Chaos sect heard that Yun Chujiu was most likely dead, more than half of them were gloating. They couldn't blame others. Yun Chujiu had been too high profile and attracted too many hatred points. The ones who were the most upset were Mountain Master Zhuo, Elder Jiang, and the others of Tinji Peak. The little girl had died, and their plan to breed snow jade silkworms had been aborted. Therefore, the little leader who was guarding the Cave of Reflection was blamed. He was charged with leaving his post without permission, and he became a servant instead of an inner disciple. The little leader was so depressed that he almost committed suicide. However, after thinking about it, he realized that he had brought this upon himself. If he had mustered up the courage to let Yun Chujiu out, there wouldn't have been anything else. Then what was He Xinjiu doing? Ever since He Xinjiu realized that her spiritual power could not be used, she could only place her hopes on the teleportation formation. Unfortunately, after a day and a night, there was still no movement. She knew that she could not count on the teleportation formation and could only save herself. Without spiritual power, the storage ring could not be used, and the items in the Great Void Mystic Realm could not be taken out. The biggest problem was how could she survive without food and drink? Chapter 2700. Yun Chujiu was so hungry that her heart was stuck to her back. Fortunately, she had a flash of inspiration and remembered that she still had Guai Chao. This fellow said with a never-before-seen good attitude, "Go Weiba, only you can save me now. Hurry up and get me something that can quench my hunger and thirst." Go Weiba wagged its leaves proudly. Usually, it always despised it for being able to eat, but now didn't it still have to count on it? Yun Chujia's forefinger was oozing with liquid, and Yun Chujiu quickly put it into her mouth. It had to be said that Go Weiba was still reliable. After this drop of liquid entered her stomach, Yun Chujiu instantly felt refreshed. Now it was time to think about how to get out of this predicament. Yun Chujiu took out the small dagger from her boot and tried it, but it was useless. The guy sighed. Damn it, if he knew this would happen, he would have put the big kitchen knife on his waist. This way he could use it even if he did not have spiritual power. The guy decided to make a knife case in the future and carry the big kitchen knife with him. He did not care whether it looked good or not as long as it could save his life at the critical moment. In the blink of an eye, another 2 days passed. Although the liquid from the Guai Chao saved his life, anyone trapped in a stone room would feel so depressed that they would want to hit the wall. Fortunately, Yun Chujiu had taken out a luminous pearl to light up the room. Otherwise, it would have been even more difficult to endure. Yun Chujio tried to communicate with the Great Void Mirror, but she did not succeed. As for the Black Pearl, she did not expect it at all. It was just a free meal. Yun Chujio asked Guaichao to help her communicate with the Great Void Mirror. She wanted to see if she could enter the Great Void Mirror and find a way out. The result was very disappointing. According to Guaichao's feedback, it had no way to communicate with the Supreme Void Mirror. Obviously, other than the weird Guaichao, everything else required spiritual power. Yun Chujio thought that the reason why Guaichao was not affected was probably because Guaichao shared a body with her, so it was not limited by spiritual power. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. How could she get out? Yun Chujio's head hurt from thinking, but she did not give up. She felt that there was always a way out. There must be a way out. Guaichao had to admit that although its host was a little weak, its willpower was so strong that it was not human. If it was someone with weak willpower, they would have died hundreds of times. Yun Chujio paced back and forth in the stone room, counting the things she could use with her fingers. Dagger useless. Draw a cross. Storage ring useless. Draw a cross. Spirit beast pouch useless. Draw a cross. Grand illusionary mirror useless. Draw a cross. Black bead free food. Draw a cross. This fellow thought about it, but he could only find a breakthrough point from Guaichao. Go Weiba, get me some corrosive liquid like weak water. I'll see if I can corrode the stone wall. Guaichao painfully took out a drop. Yun Chujio dripped it on the stone wall, but there was no reaction. Yun Chujio could not help but feel a little dejected. This could not work, that could not work either. Was she really going to be trapped here for the rest of her life? Yun Chujio forced herself to calm down and once again looked for a breakthrough point from Guaichao's body. Got it. Go Weiba, you go ahead and tease me to your heart's content. Summon all the demonic beasts in the vicinity. When the time comes, the demonic beasts will definitely be able to pull this stone room out. Naturally, someone will think of a way to get me out. Upon hearing Yun Chujio's instructions, Guaichao began to shake the leaves on his body with all his might. This fellow was extremely pleased with himself. Didn't he still have to rely on it at the crucial moment? How could he bear to take care of this black-hearted little girl in the future? With a human and a grass acting as demons here, the Chaos Origin sect was once again in trouble. Master Bailey looked at himself in the mirror. He had forcefully added a lot of white hair these days. It was really worrying. At this moment he felt as if the ground was trembling. What was going on? Was the Earth Dragon going to turn over a new leaf? His identity jade token suddenly trembled. After Master Bailey sent his divine sense in, he heard Mountain Master He shouting, "Master! The demon beasts have gone mad. The demon beasts have gone mad." Master Bailey frowned. At his age, this Mountain Master He was speaking without any reason. What did he mean by the demon beasts going mad? Before he could ask further, the identity jade token and the voice transmission talisman started to explode. "Master, this is bad. The demon beasts in our spirit beast garden are all ramming into the array formation like crazy. The demon beasts at the back of the mountains are all rushing toward the back of Dubhe Peak. Master, this is bad. The snow jade silkworms of Tianji Peak are jumping out of the mulberry garden like crazy. Master, all the demon beasts are rushing toward the back of the mountain, and even the red-feathered chickens in the kitchen are ramming the cages like crazy. Master, there are many demon birds and demon insects approaching the back of Dubhe Peak. Also, there seems to be a large number of demon beasts on the way. Should we activate the sect protecting array formation?" Master Bailey couldn't care less about the white hair and black hair anymore. He rushed out of the courtyard, and from afar he could see the demonic birds and demonic insects that blotted out the sky rushing towards the back mountain of Tianshu Peak. Moreover, the ground was trembling more and more violently. Clearly there were many demonic beasts rushing over. They had committed a sin. What on earth was going on? Even if the demonic beasts were rebelling, they shouldn't just run towards their primordial chaos sect. Moreover, it seemed like they were heading towards the back mountain of Dubhe Peak. Could it be that these demon beasts had really gone mad? The 4 grand elders hurriedly rushed over. The 4 old men wiped their sweat. It had been many years since they had been safe. Why had there been so many accidents recently? The 6 peak masters also rushed over hurriedly. The most important thing now was whether or not to activate the sect protecting array. If it was activated, even if the sect protecting array was very powerful with so many demonic beasts attacking, It would consume a lot of energy every day. Moreover, if the sect protecting array was damaged, it would be disastrous if anything bad happened in the future. However, if the sect protecting array was not activated, the purpose of these demonic beasts would be unclear again. What if they attacked people? In the end, everyone decided to check the back of Dubhe Peak and ordered all the disciples of the Primordial Chaos sect to gather at the Primordial Square. If the demonic beasts really went out of control, they could at least rely on the ancient array to hold on for a while. Master Bailey and the others didn't dare to get too close, so they only rode their swords and watched from above. They saw that the demonic beasts and demonic insects that arrived first, regardless of their level, didn't attack each other. Instead, they were all doing their best, digging the ground. Master Bailey and the others looked at each other in confusion. What were they doing? A supreme elder muttered, "Could it be that this has something to do with the spirit energy cluster that appeared earlier? Perhaps there are some heavenly treasures below that are attracting them?" Everyone felt that what he said made a lot of sense. It was either a heavenly treasure or the egg of an immortal beast or a strange beast. That was why these demonic beasts were so crazy. As more and more demon beasts gathered, the demon beasts began to dig in batches. Especially when some demon beasts who were good at digging came, the speed of digging was much faster. Soon a huge pit appeared, but the demon beasts continued to dig and dig. More beasts were more powerful. In less than half a day, the hole they dug was already very, very deep. Master Bailey and the others saw that the beasts didn't pay much attention to them, so they got closer and closer. They stretched their necks and looked into the hole. There was nothing but mud. However, looking at the beasts, they seemed to be even more excited. This meant that the thing they were looking for was getting closer and closer. What exactly were they looking for? As time passed, only a few scattered demonic beasts were still rushing over. Master Bailey and the others let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that it wasn't a demonic beast riot, but only some nearby demonic beasts had come over. The demonic beasts dug for an entire night. When the sun had just risen the next day, Master Xiaohou of the Murderous Origin sect came to join in the fun again. Master Bailey had originally planned to shut him out, but he didn't expect this person to be so eloquent. He said that the abnormal demonic beasts were a major matter related to the Immortal Origin continent, and it wasn't a matter of the entire Primordial Chaos sect. Moreover, he stated that no matter what good things there were, he wouldn't take them. If not for Master Bailey's status, he would have spat at Master Bailey. "You shameless old man, even if there were good things, they were in the territory of the Primordial Chaos sect. If Master Bailey dared to take them, he wouldn't be beaten to death." Since Master Xiaohou had said so much, Master Bailey had no choice but to ask someone to invite him over. Master Xiaohou looked at the situation in front of him, and his face was immediately filled with shock. In front of him was a deep pit that could not be seen at the bottom. If it was dug by manpower, it would take a long time. However, because there were many demon beasts that were good at digging holes, it only took one night to do it. Master Xiaohou looked at the demon beasts again. Although there were many of them and they looked excited, there was no law of the jungle. Each and every one of them seemed to be only interested in the things in the deep pit. What on earth was down there? Another half a day passed and the sound of digging was no longer heard. Instead, it was the sound of claws hitting hard objects. Everyone's expression brightened. However, the light in the pit was dim and there were many demonic beasts in it, so they could not see clearly. Everyone was anxious. They wanted to drive the demonic beasts away, but there were too many of them. Once they were angered, there would be a fierce battle. At this moment, the emotions of the demonic beasts changed. They seemed to have turned from excitement to confusion, and the demonic beasts that were good at digging holes also stopped moving. Then the demonic beasts seemed to have woken up from a dream, especially the low-level demonic beasts that started to run for their lives. The low-level demonic beasts rampaged, so the high-level demonic beasts naturally wouldn't just stand there in a daze. Thus, the scene instantly became extremely chaotic. Fortunately, Master Bailey and the others had high spiritual power and there were quite a number of them. Those demonic beasts didn't go up and attack them insensibly. After a period of chaos, the back mountain of Dubhe Peak finally regained its peace. Only then did everyone jump into the deep pit one after another. They saw that there was actually a stone slab under their feet, and it was a material that they had never seen before. Obviously, there should be a secret room or something under the stone slab. Everyone was excited. There must be a treasure inside, or else the demonic beasts wouldn't be so crazy. However, no matter how many methods they used, they still couldn't open the stone slab. They had no choice but to find more disciples to continue digging. Finally, they saw the entire stone chamber. The entire stone chamber was one without a single crack. Everyone tried their best, but they still couldn't open it. At this moment, Master Xiahou said from the side, "I have a way to open this stone room. However, if you want my help, you must give half of the treasures inside to our Shi Yuan sect." Everyone glared angrily at Master Xiahou. How shameless! Why should their primordial chaos sect give half of their things to the killing origin sect? Dream on. Master Xiahou saw that no one was paying attention to him, so he wasn't angry either. He said with a fake smile, "I advise you to agree. Otherwise, wouldn't it be bad if you end up with nothing? All treasures have their own characteristics. Who knows, they might grow legs and run away after a long time. When that time comes, none of you will have anywhere to cry." Master Bailey said snappily, "What can you do? I don't know what material this stone slab is made of. It's perfectly sewn and extremely hard. Even if you use a talisman, it's useless. There's only one way to open this stone slab, and that's for you and me to join hands. Your primordial chaos sect has the sun-shooting bow, while our killing primordial sect has the sun-shooting bow. It seems that this stone slab can only be opened by combining the bow and arrow." Master Xiahou's tone became serious. He was obviously not joking. Everyone's eyes widened in surprise. They did not expect Master Xiahou to come up with such a suggestion. Back then, Master Huntian was worried that the sun-shooting bow would be too powerful, so he specially passed the bow and arrows to the two disciples of Master Hongyuan and Master Yuan Tian to avoid bringing harm to the people. Ever since Master Hongyuan betrayed the Hunyuan sect, the sun-shooting bow and the sun-shooting arrow had never appeared together again. They did not expect Master Xiahou to come up with such a suggestion today. The reason why Master Xiahou would do this was, of course, because he had his own motives. He felt that there must be something good under this stone slab. Even if there was no way to split the treasure, it would still be good enough to extort a sum of money. Most importantly, Master Xiahou felt that it was not a waste of his life to be able to witness the power of the sun-shooting arrow in this lifetime. Master Bailey was a little tempted. Although Xiahou Lin had ulterior motives, this suggestion was still feasible. Otherwise, once the stone chamber disappeared again, they would really end up with nothing. Master Bailey and the four supreme elders discussed and agreed to Master Xiahou's proposal. Thus, Master Bailey took out the sun-shooting bow and Master Xiahou took out the sun-shooting arrow. Both of their hands slightly trembled. This sun-shooting arrow was different from ordinary bows and arrows. Its bow and arrow were independent divine weapons. However, they were not as powerful as when they were combined together. Master Bailey and Master Xiahou did not trust each other. They could only swear in their hearts that they would not be greedy for each other's things. Only then did Master Xiahou hand the sun-shooting arrow to Master Bailey. Everyone was afraid that the power of the sun-shooting arrow would be too great to be affected, so they all jumped to the top of the deep pit. Only then did Master Bailey pull the bowstring, and the sun-shooting arrow in his hand went straight for the stone slab. Boom! With a loud, earth-shattering sound, the huge stone slab instantly shattered into pieces, stirring up a cloud of dust. After the dust had dispersed, everyone looked down with eager eyes, especially Master Xiahou, whose old heart was thumping violently. There must be a great treasure hidden down there. What exactly was it? More than 10 pairs of eyes were focused on the gap in the stone chamber. Just as they were about to jump down, they heard a cough coming from inside. Cough, 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 cough. I'm finally out. Which great benefactor saved me? Everyone was stunned to see a little girl sitting on a large chopping board flying up. Oh God, isn't that Yun Chujio? Could it be that this stone room was actually the number 14 reflection cave? The others were better off, but Master Xiahou's heart was cold. Where was the treasure? Where was the treasure? Why was it this little girl? Master Xiahou pinched himself hard. Upon closer inspection, it was still that lively little girl, and he immediately felt his heart turn cold. He originally thought that there was a treasure down there and he could take the opportunity to split half of it or to extort some spirit stones. But now he actually helped save a little girl and she was even wearing the clothes of a handyman. He really suffered a great loss. Master Xiaohou and the others were unwilling to give up. They jumped down and flipped around again but there was nothing. Moreover, just as they left the stone room sank into the ground again. Although Master Bailey and the others were a little disappointed, they were still able to save the disciples of their own sect. Especially Master Bailey. He knew about the relationship between Yun Chujio and the Divine Devil Hall, so he was very happy. After Yun Chujio flew up, she solemnly bowed to everyone and said a bunch of sweet words. It was nothing more than thanking everyone for saving her. Master Xiaohou felt as if his teeth had fallen to the ground and he swallowed them. Master Bailey gritted his teeth and asked Master Bailey, although I didn't find any treasure, I have already helped your primordial chaos sect a lot. Don't tell me you haven't expressed anything at all? Master Bailey felt much better when he saw Master Xiaohu's expression. He smiled and said, I wonder what Master Xiaohu would like to express? Humph. Originally we said that we would split the treasure if we found it. Now that we're a living person we naturally can't split it. Then we'll compensate our murderous origin sect with 100 million high-grade spirit stones. Master Xiaohu said unhappily, 100 million was already a small amount. Initially he thought that he could at least get a few 100 million high-grade spirit stones back. Master Bailey did not say anything. Instead he looked at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. This old fox, why is he looking at her? It was not a condition that she agreed to. Could it be that he wanted her to pay for it? What kind of joke was this? The 14th reflection cave belonged to the primordial chaos sect. If something went wrong, would he want her to pay for it? In your dreams. No way. Therefore this fellow covered his head with his hand and kept screaming, I can't take it anymore. Maybe I've been locked up in there for too long. My head feels dizzy. The corner of Master Bailey's eyes twitched. This little girl was really stingy. For a moment no one said anything. The atmosphere was very awkward. Master Xiaohu was so angry that he couldn't take it anymore. The people of the primordial chaos sect were all more thick-skinned than the last one. They had agreed to it but now they actually pretended to be stupid. This was really outrageous. Well, Sect Master, I still have some matters to attend to in my peak. We'll be leaving now. Mountain Master Zhua thought of his precious snow jade silkworm. He had been sitting on pins and needles for a long time. Now that the matter had been settled, he naturally wouldn't waste his time here. Besides, what if the money was on his head? With Mountain Master Zhua taking the lead, the others found all sorts of reasons and excuses to escape. Even the 4 grand elders left in a hurry, citing the fact that they were old and weak. Master Xiaohu was so angry that he was twitching. Those 4 old things ran faster than rabbits. How could they be old and weak? Your primordial chaos sect shouldn't go too far. If you don't give us money today we won't be finished. Master Xiaohu roared loudly. His saliva was about to spray onto Master Bailey's face. Master Bailey laughed and said, I didn't say I wouldn't give it to you. Why are you so agitated? Yun Chujio, Master Xiaohu lent us the sun-shooting arrow to save you. Shouldn't you show some gratitude? Yun Chujio's heart was like a mutt. She thought that Master Bailey, as the sect leader of a sect, wouldn't really open his mouth and ask her to pay. She didn't expect this old fox to be so shameless and actually say it out loud. Yun Chujio had 10,000 reasons to avoid it. However, when she thought about how good it was to enjoy the shade under a big tree, it was better not to offend Master Bailey. Thus she decided to make a breakthrough with Master Xiaohu. Master, you are right. This matter was caused by me. Naturally I should take full responsibility. That Master Xiaohu, didn't you say that you would find half of the treasure? I am that treasure. Of course, it is immoral for a living person like me to be split in half. However, I can be a servant for your Shi Yuan sect. From now on I will stay for 3 months and guarantee to serve the 2 sects fairly and justly. What do you think? My fire lighting skills are really good. I guarantee that you will get a good value for your money. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Master Xiaohu, Master Bailey, oh my god, is there such a shameless person in this world? Why would the murderous Yuan sect need a handyman to light a fire? Besides, with you causing trouble every few days, I'm afraid that you will have to pay for it. The murderous Yuan sect wouldn't want it either. Sure enough, Master Xiaohu was so angry that he rolled his eyes. As the sect master of a sect, he had never been treated with such leisure. Today he had learned what it meant to be shameless. Bai Liyin was shameless, and this Yun Chujie was even more shameless. The more Master Xiaohou thought about it, the angrier he got. He glared at Yun Chujie fiercely. Fine, since that's the case, you will come back to the murderous Yuan sect with me. From now on, the kitchen stove of the murderous Yuan sect will belong to you alone. Master Bailey was originally watching the show from the side, but he didn't expect Master Xiaohou to really take Yun Chujie away. How could he allow such a ridiculous thing to happen? He quickly said, Master Xiaohou, calm down. I was just joking just now. It's only 100 million upper-grade spirit stones. There's no need for you to be so angry. I'll transfer it to you. Master Xiaohou was also trying to fight for his reputation. He sneered and said, I don't want your spirit stones. I want this little girl who is lighting the fire. Master Bailey tried to persuade him for a while, but Master Xiaohou was too stubborn. Moreover, he liked to go against Master Bailey. No matter what, he had to take Yun Chujie away. Moreover, Master Xiaohou said with conviction, Bai Liyin, we have an agreement. If we dig out half of the things, then we will stay here for 3 months according to what she said. Goodbye. After 3 months we will naturally send someone to send her back. Master Xiaohou glared at Yun Chujie. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and leave with me. Yun Chujie blinked her eyes. It was good to go to the murderous Yuan sect for a walk. The people of the murderous Yuan sect were considered her juniors. She would just treat it as an inspection. Master Bailey saw Master Xiaohu's intention and he was in the wrong. He could only say, Xiaohou Lin, don't blame me for not reminding you. This little girl is not an easy person to deal with. If she gets into trouble, don't blame me. Besides, you know about her and the Divine Devil Hall. You have to protect her little life. Master Xiaohou snorted. What can a little servant get into trouble for? As for her little life, that depends on her own ability. Master Bailey knew Master Xiaohou quite well. He knew that even though he said so, he would still look at Yun Chujie. Therefore he felt that he should let Yun Chujie cause some harm. Oh no. It was not bad to experience the life of the Shi Yuan sect. This was because, for some reason, Master Bailey felt that the recent mess seemed to have something to do with this little girl. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Master Xiaohou angrily left the primordial chaos sect with Yun Chujie and boarded the flying spirit tool. Yun Chujie hurriedly sent a voice transmission talisman to Jin Ji and then to Di Baiming, stating that she would go to the primordial murder sect to play for a few days so that they did not have to worry. Jin Ji replied very quickly. It was unknown whether Di Baiming did not see it or was too busy to leave, so he did not reply immediately. After Yun Chujie sent out the voice transmission talisman, she obediently hid in the corner. Him eat. Although this guy had the juice of Guai Chao to save his life, he still felt hungry for a long time in his heart, so naturally it was more important to fill his stomach first. Master Xiaohou glanced at Yun Chujie with disdain. No wonder he was a handyman in the big kitchen. So he was a good-for-nothing. He thought back to when he was in the Sky-Bearing Alliance. He felt that he was quite smart. How did he become a good-for-nothing after staying in the Chaos Origin sect for half a year? The Murderous Origin sect was not too far from the Chaos Origin sect. In addition, Master Xiaohu's flying spirit tool was quite powerful. Therefore, after 4 hours, the flying spirit tool arrived at the Murderous Origin sect. Although Master Xiaohou was the sect master of the Murderous Origin sect, he still had to walk to the front of the mountain gate. Yun Chujie looked at the mountain gate of the Origin Killing sect and almost burst out laughing. This was simply a copy of the mountain gate of the Origin Killing sect. It looked quite similar, but it didn't have the ancient and powerful aura of the mountain gate of the Origin Killing sect. Of course, it didn't look too bad. After all, it was a super sect that had been around for tens of thousands of years. Still had some foundation. It was possible that they didn't find the stone Pai Xiao at the gate of the murderous Yuan sect, so they had placed 2 jade-eyed stone lions there. It looked quite normal. Perhaps it was because Yun Chujie's disdain was too obvious, but the 2 jade-eyed lions actually spoke in human language. Humph. A little girl that the heavenly Tao doesn't allow actually dares to look down on us? That's right, little Xiaohou, you are not allowed to bring this smelly girl in. Master Xiaohou was shocked and embarrassed. No matter who was at such an age, being called little Xiaohou by the 2 stone lions would be very awkward, alright? However, he really couldn't say anything. After all, these two stone lions were much older than him. Since the guardian stone beasts don't like you, then you should return to the primordial chaos sect. I will send someone to send you back, Master Xiahou said with a stiff face. Yun Chujiu thought to herself, what a joke. They are already here and they are going back just like that. Besides, if this news were to spread, how embarrassing would it be? Thus, this fellow said with a smile, Master Sect Leader, I reckon that these two stone lions have some misunderstandings about me. I will communicate with them at a close distance and they will definitely change their views of me. As Yun Chujiu said this, she secretly held Patriarch Hongyuan's ring in her hand. She walked to the stone lion on the east side and said, What did you say just now? You don't want me to go in? Did you not wake up just now, so what you said was nonsense? Master Xiahou almost laughed out of anger. Did this Yun Chujiu think that this stone lion was easy to fool? If she angered them, she would not have a good ending. Unexpectedly, that stone lion trembled twice, then it said flatteringly, Yes, you're right. I wasn't awake just now and spouted nonsense. We warmly welcome you to our Shi Yuan sect. Welcome. Warmly welcome. The other stone lion also said flatteringly, Yes, I wasn't awake just now. Welcome. Warmly welcome. Master Xiahou, in broad daylight did he see a ghost? They were basically the same. After the two of them arrived at the General Affairs Office, the General Affairs Office was guarded by a steward surnamed Lu. When he saw Leng Kuei, he was extremely flattering. Yun Chujiu cursed in her heart. It seemed that this Leng Kuei was quite popular in the murderous Yuan sect. However, it was also true. As the successor disciple of the sect master, he might become the sect master in the future. Naturally, he would be very popular. Leng Kuei said coldly, This Yun Chujiu is from the Hunyuan sect. Because of some matters, she will take turns to stay in each sect for 3 months in the future. You can arrange for her to be a busboy in the big kitchen. After Leng Kuei finished speaking, he did not bother with Manager Liu's questions and directly left. Manager Liu was completely dumbfounded. What the hell? This little girl will be taking turns to stay in the two sects in the future? She even brought this to play? Wasn't she afraid that she would leak some sect secrets? Yun Chujiu looked around and then whispered to Manager Liu, Senior Brother Liu, can we talk further? Manager Liu rolled his eyes and brought Yun Chujiu to a room next door. Senior Brother Liu, there are some secrets that I shouldn't reveal, but you and I are like old friends at first sight, so I'll let you know a little more, Yun Chujiu said mysteriously. Manager Liu had always been curious about his good fortune. Now that he heard Yun Chujiu say this, he was naturally curious and asked anxiously, Junior Sister Yun, tell me quickly. What is it? To tell you the truth, I have been assigned an important task by the sect leader. Of course, it is not convenient for me to tell you what task it is. You can just arrange me to the big kitchen. I will handle the rest. Yun Chujiu showed a proud expression. Manager Liu was skeptical and felt that it was impossible. Why would Master Xiahou arrange a little girl to do an important task? Moreover, it was a small handyman who went to the big kitchen to start a fire. Yun Chujiu looked around, then she took out Master Xiaohu's voice transmission talisman and shook it. Do you see it? What is this? It is Master Xiaohu's voice transmission talisman. Do you know why you gave me the voice transmission talisman? This is for me to report to him at any time. Although Manager Liu had never seen Master Xiaohu's voice transmission talisman, he had heard that Master Xiaohu's voice transmission talisman had a special mark in the lower right corner. When he looked carefully at the talisman in Yun Chujiu's hand, it was really Master Xiaohu's voice transmission talisman. Manager Liu immediately believed it 90%. His attitude towards Yun Chujiu immediately became obsequious. Junior Sister Yun, I didn't expect that you would be valued so highly by the master at such a young age. Your future is boundless. Yun Chujiu smiled and shook her head. Senior Brother Liu, you flatter me. I'm just helping the sect master with some matters. And you here. Senior Brother Liu, can you help me introduce some basic information about the murderous origin sect? Or is there anything that I need to pay special attention to? Manager Liu was looking forward to it, so he told Yun Chujiu everything that he knew. Yun Chujio did not show any emotion on her face, but she was very surprised. She did not expect that although the murderous origin sect was very similar to the primordial chaos sect in many ways, the essence of this sect was completely different. The primordial chaos sect advocated unity and mutual assistance, and strictly forbade disciples from killing each other. The murderous origin sect, on the other hand, was the survival of the fittest. It did not prevent disciples from killing each other. It was just that they did not allow private fights to take place on the competition stage. Moreover, as long as one party raised a challenge, the other party did not have the right to refuse. They had to go on the competition stage. According to Manager Liu, people would go to the competition stage every few days to seek revenge. It was also common for people to die. However, fortunately, the killing origin sect was well known. There were many people who came because of their reputation, so they did not take the deaths of their disciples to heart. Yun Chujio thought to herself, this killing origin sect is so brutal. However, her actual spiritual power had already reached the 5th level of the spiritual void tier. Moreover, she had absorbed the heavenly lightning before and was on the verge of breaking through again. It would not take long for her to break through again. Moreover, she still had a lot of talismans. Anyone who offended her would be courting death. Manager Liu briefly introduced some things to take note of. Then he gave Yun Chujio a set of sect resources. Then he sent his men to bring Yun Chujio to the kitchen to report. Yun Chujio strolled behind the disciple. The voice transmission talisman in her storage ring started to vibrate. Di Baiming's voice came from inside. Little Jiao, this venerable one will be able to reach the Shi Yuan sect tonight. Just wait for me in peace. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Soon a big fat man came out from the kitchen and sized up Yun Chujio. Oh, you're a handyman to light the fire? Are you sure? That disciple hurriedly said. Manager Wang, this junior sister Yun was personally brought back by the sect master. She will return to the Chaos Origin sect after staying in our Killing Origin sect for 3 months. From now on she will stay at one side for 3 months. Fatty Wang was stunned. What? Stay at one side for 3 months? Isn't our Killing Origin sect incompatible with the Chaos Origin sect? Why do we still have to do such a thing? This is the decision of the sect master. The reason is not clear. Oh right, junior sister Yun likes peace and quiet, so it'll have to trouble Manager Wang to give junior sister Yun the dormitory at the end, said the disciple with a smile. Although Fatty Wang was the manager of the big kitchen, many things had to be done in the miscellaneous department. Therefore he had to please that disciple. Sure enough, Fatty Wang said with a smile, what trouble is this? It's nothing. Thank you for your hard work, junior brother G. That disciple chatted with Fatty Wang for a while more, then turned around and left. After the disciple left, Fatty Wang sized up Yun Chujio and said, do you know the rules? Yun Chujio asked in confusion, rules? What rules? Are they the rules of the Shi Yuan sect? Fatty Wang curled his lips. I'm talking about the rules of our big kitchen. Any newbie who enters, there are 2 ways. The first way is to obediently give the newcomer fee, and the second way is to give the newcomer fee after being beaten up. Which one do you choose? Yun Chujio's eyes flickered. Was she concealing her strength or acting recklessly? Yun Chujio thought of the days when she had to wake up early in the Chaos Origin sect's big kitchen and immediately crossed out the path of concealing her strength. Damn it, her strength was more than enough to take care of this group of handymen. Why did she have to pretend to be a grandson? Hence, the corners of Yun Chujio's mouth curled up. Manager Wang, I'm really sorry. I don't want to choose either path. Fatty Wang thought that Yun Chujio, a little girl who had just arrived, would definitely obediently pay the money. Hence, he pursed his lips and planned to collect the money. He did not expect Yun Chujio to actually say such a thing. Fatty Wang was first stunned, then he said angrily out of embarrassment, little girl, don't you know the rules of our Killing Origin sect? Our Killing Origin sect is not like the Chaos Origin sect. If you don't follow the rules, you can go up to the competition stage at any time and kill you. Yun Chujio sneered. Isn't it just going up to the competition stage? What's so great about it? Why do you want to go up to the competition stage with me? Fatty Wong felt that there was something wrong with his ears. A little girl at the 6th layer of the spiritual profound realm actually dared to provoke him? Was this little girl's brain damaged? Although the people in the big kitchen were busy with their own matters, they all pricked up their ears to pay attention to the situation here. Now that they saw Yoon Chujio's unyielding attitude, they could not help but stop the work in their hands and look at Yoon Chujio and Fatty Wong. Fatty Wong suddenly felt a little embarrassed. However, when he recalled the attitude of the disciple of the General Affairs Department towards Yoon Chujio just now, he felt a little uncertain. Could it be that she had someone backing her? It was better to wait and see first. Anyway, there were many people who would find trouble with her. He just needed to watch coldly from the side. Thinking of this, Fatty Wong snorted coldly. Forget it. Since you're young, I won't argue with you. You should come here for a while. I'll leave this handyman to you. Take good care of her. A middle-aged man with a pointy mouth and monkey cheeks ran over. He naturally understood what Fatty Wong meant by taking care of her. He pursed his lips and said to Yoon Chujio, "I'll leave the 5 stoves in the south to you. If you delay the cooking, you'll suffer." Yoon Chujio was not stupid. The south was under direct sunlight and the temperature of the stoves was the worst. Moreover, there were only 10 stoves in the big kitchen and she was asked to be in charge of 5 stoves. This was clearly bullying. Yoon Chujio raised her eyebrows. "I think that stove is not bad. I will be in charge of that from now on. If you have any objections, let's go up to the competition stage." Hee-shing looked at the stove that Yoon Chujio pointed at, and he was so angry that his nose almost went crooked. That stove was an abandoned stove. It had been a long time since anyone had used it. How could someone be in charge of such a stove? Hee-shing said exasperatedly, What do you mean? Do you want to rebel? Either accept the mission or get lost." "Get lost? But the sect leader asked me to come to the kitchen to light the fire. How dare you disobey the sect leader's orders? Besides, I'm warning you, I'm under the sect leader's protection. You all better be careful. Trying to extort my spirit stones? Trying to bully me? Dream on. I'll be in charge of that stove in the future. If anyone has any objections, I'll accept the challenge at any time. Isn't it just going to be a competition? Beating one to death will make one less. Steward Wong, give me the dormitory jade medallion. I'm too tired from traveling. I need to take a nap." Fatty Wong and the people in the big kitchen were all dumbstruck. This was the first time they had seen such an arrogant newcomer. Was she really confident or was she just bluffing? Fatty Wong couldn't figure out Yoon Chujio's background at the moment, so he decided not to offend her first. It wouldn't be too late to settle the score after he found out the truth. Therefore, Fatty Wong handed the dormitory jade token to Yoon Chujio and said a few polite words. It was only because she was young and new to this place that he did not care about Yoon Yoon. Yoon Chujio could not be bothered with him. Her eyes scanned the kitchen and finally walked to the dining table. She picked a few dishes that she liked and put them into her storage ring. Then she swaggered out of the kitchen. Fatty Wong almost fainted from anger. He took a deep breath and did not bother to eat anymore. He rushed to the General Affairs Department. He had already thought it through. He would first go to the General Affairs Department's manager Lu to find out the truth. It would be fine if this wretched girl had a backer. If she did not, she would have a good ending. Fatty Wong went to the General Affairs Department. After seeing Manager Lu, he asked about Yoon Chujio. Manager Lu usually had a good relationship with Fatty Wong, therefore he said ambiguously, "Anyway, your big kitchen is not short of people. If she doesn't work, then she doesn't work. Besides, she will return to the primordial chaos sect in 3 months. Why do you have to be so serious with her?" Fatty Wong was not stupid. Once he heard that there was something fishy going on, he decided in his heart to not provoke that little girl. He probably had a big background. Yoon Chujio did not know that the secret chess piece that she had set up had already worked. This fellow was cleaning the courtyard. After she left the big kitchen, she found a random person and asked around. She found her courtyard. Although the courtyard was a little small and a little broken, it was still okay to clean it up. The key was that this place was close to the back of the mountain. It was very quiet. If the gigolo was a demon, it could also be within the control range. It would not cause too much trouble. Yoon Chujio worked hard for a while and finally cleaned up the house. She also set up swings and stone tables in the courtyard. Instantly, the small courtyard became lively. Everything was ready. Now they were just waiting for the gigolo to arrive. Yun Chujio recalled the arrogant tone of D. Biming in the voice transmission talisman. She immediately became angry. She had to think of a way to teach him a lesson. Otherwise he would really fly into the sky. The sky gradually darkened. Yun Chujio guessed that D. Biming would be here soon. This guy made some chili noodles to make his eyes red. Then he laid under the blanket and waited for the fish to take the bait. Unfortunately, the fish did not come after a long time. She covered her body with sweat and was so angry that she was twitching. Just when this guy was about to send a voice transmission talisman to D. Biming, the door was pushed open. Under the moonlight, a certain person with a halo walked in. Yun Chujio saw that a certain person was still dressed in white, and the corner of her mouth twitched speechlessly. Sneaking into the murderous Yuan sect in the middle of the night, he was actually dressed in eye-catching white clothes. You're really awesome. Yun Chujio hid her head under the blanket and ignored D. Biming. D. Biming originally thought that his little wife would greet him with a bright smile. Who would have thought that he would only see a cocoon wrapped in the blanket? How could a certain Jiao who was arrogant and overbearing be able to stand this? She immediately snorted in displeasure. Little Jiao, what are you doing? Can't you see that I'm here? Why aren't you here to help me clean my face? A certain Jiao who was wrapped in the blanket cursed silently. Clean your head. Fortunately she had foresight. Otherwise this gigolo might have tortured her. D. Biming saw that Yun Chujio still did not say anything, and his expression became even more displeased. Little Jiao, didn't you hear what I said? If you don't come over now, I will be angry. Angry? It would be better if he was angered to the point of fainting. Arrogant. A certain Jiao secretly ridiculed under the blanket. If she did not make the pretty boy obedient today, her name would not be Yun Chujio. D. Biming saw that Yun Chujio still did not move. He walked to the bed with a cold face and used his hand to lift up Yun Chujio's blanket. Black thing, you are getting more and more daring. D. Biming's words stopped abruptly because when he saw Yun Chujio under the blanket, her eyes were as red as a rabbit's and her face was full of tears. He immediately panicked. Little Jiao, what happened to you? Who bullied you? Tell me, I'll help you kill him. Yun Chujio did not speak. She only shed tears silently. Moreover, she was sobbing. Her appearance was so pitiful. D. Biming's heart was about to break. Little Jiao, you really worried me to death. Say something, who provoked you? D. Biming hugged Yun Chujio and was so anxious that he wanted to hit the wall. Yun Chujio wiped her tears on D. Biming's body and sobbed. No one bullied me, I was the one who was sad. I'm really useless. Sabsabi, I feel that there's no meaning in living anymore. D. Biming's heart ached. He knew that Yun Chujio's character was very tenacious. If she did not meet with some big trouble, she would not be like this. What exactly happened? Could it be that something happened to Guai Chao again? Or did something bad happen? Little Jiao, you don't cry first. What exactly happened? Don't worry. As long as you say it, I will definitely help you solve it. Even if it can't be solved, let's discuss it properly. There will definitely be a way. Didn't you say that people should move on? What's going on? Say something. D. Biming was so anxious that his forehead was covered in sweat. However, Yun Chujio just cried and did not speak. A certain Jiao felt that even if she was slashed a few times, it would still feel much better than this. It was simply too torturous. A certain Jiao saw through the gap between her fingers that a certain Jiao was about to go berserk. Only then did she sob and say, Prince Charming, you don't have to care about me. I know that my worries are unnecessary. You won't listen to me even if I speak. Just let me be sad. Anyway, my little heart is already riddled with holes. Sob, my heart hurts so much. A certain Jiao was still clutching her chest as she spoke, looking heartbroken. D. Biming did not have the time to analyze what Yun Chujio was talking about. When he saw Yun Chujio clutching her chest, he quickly removed Yun Chujio's hand. He gently helped Yun Chujio rub her chest as he asked, Are you feeling better? Does it still hurt? A certain Jiao was still pretending to groan at the beginning, but her face quickly turned red. What the fuck? Where was this shameless gigolo rubbing? A certain Jiao also realized that the touch of her hand was not bad. Although it was only a small bump, it was completely different from the hardness and softness of a man's chest. She simply could not put it down. A certain Geo felt that there was a ball of fire burning in her lower abdomen. She wanted to tear the little thing in front of her apart and eat it immediately. A certain Geo's eyes became deeper and deeper. She bent down and prepared to kiss a certain Geo's lips. A certain Geo dodged shyly. A certain Geo's lips kissed a certain Geo's cheek, and she couldn't help but lick a certain Geo's tears. A certain Geo was stunned. Shouldn't tears be salty? Why were Mao Xiao Geo's tears spicy? A certain Geo's memory flashed through his mind. She had a criminal record. Bai Lian Geo did not know that the truth had been exposed. She continued to grumble, "Don't worry about me. Just let me live and die on my own. Anyway, you don't listen to me. What's the point of me living?" Di Baiming gritted his teeth and stood up. He said coldly, "Chili noodles? Do you think I'm an idiot? I was worried about your safety. I put down what I was doing and traveled day and night to see you. You actually used chili noodles to fool me? Little Geo, you've really disappointed me." After Di Baiming finished speaking, he clenched his fists tightly. His eyes were slightly red. It was unknown whether he was angry or sad. Yun Chujia's head buzzed. Oh no, she was exposed. Before this guy could think of a way to fix it, Di Baiming flicked his sleeves and actually turned around to leave the house. When Yun Chujio chased out of the house, she only saw an afterimage. This guy looked like he had nothing to live for. Was this the kind of situation where he made a fool of himself? If she had known earlier, she would not have used the props. She could still cry. This fellow pursed his lips and returned to the room. He took out a voice transmission talisman and said, "Prince Charming, I was wrong. Prince Charming, I did this for a reason. Don't you want to know the reason? Prince Charming, in order to express my apology, I'll sing you a song. Come back quickly and bring back my thoughts. Don't let my heart be empty like the sea." Unfortunately, the voice transmission talisman that was sent out was like mud sinking into the sea. Di Baiming completely ignored her. The feeling of guilt that this fellow originally had instantly turned into embarrassment and anger. This gigolo was becoming more and more stingy. Wasn't it just a harmless joke? Was there a need to be so angry? If he didn't come back, he would just poop. He just couldn't be bothered to look at his face that deserved a beating. Go to sleep. This guy randomly wiped his face and didn't take off his clothes. He lay on the bed and counted the sheep. As he counted, the sheep turned into a pretty boy. He could only count the pretty boy, one pretty boy and two pretty boys. After an unknown amount of time, he finally fell asleep in a daze. What this guy didn't know was that a certain someone was squatting on a mountain with a voice transmission talisman in his hand, waiting for news. He had planned to come back when he heard Yun Chujio singing. However, he felt a little embarrassed, so he made up his mind. As long as Yun Chujio said something nice, he would go back. He didn't expect that there would be no end to it. Certain Gio was so angry. If it were someone else who would dare to tease him like this, he would have been killed long ago. Unfortunately, he couldn't bear to make a move on a certain Gio. He could only stay on the mountain in the cold wind, feeling inexplicably sad. Finally, a certain Gio stood up and wanted to go back, but he felt a little embarrassed, so he hesitated and the sun rose. Hei Xinjiu did not sleep well the whole night. She opened her eyes early and used her spiritual sense to scan the sound transmission talisman in her storage ring. Seeing that Di Baiming still ignored her, she felt a ball of fire in her heart and wanted to find someone to beat her up. A certain Gio who woke up in a fit of anger and had a broken heart syndrome, washed her face and went to the kitchen with a listless head. This fellow did not intend to come to work, but when he thought of Di Baiming from time to time in the dormitory, he felt uncomfortable. Therefore, he might as well find something to do to distract his attention. Yun Chujio had just entered the kitchen and immediately attracted the gazes of the people inside. Some were disdainful, some were jealous, and some were indignant. However, because Fatty Wong did not express his stance, no one dared to find fault with her. Fatty Wong had made up his mind after asking around yesterday. Naturally, he would not provoke Yun Chujio to avoid getting into trouble. However, he would not stop others if they wanted to teach Yun Chujio a lesson. That little girl was too arrogant, so he should get someone to teach her a lesson. Yun Chujio ignored everyone's gazes and walked to the stove that she was in charge of. She took out a small stool and sat on it, supporting her cheeks as she watched everyone work. One could imagine how stifled everyone was. Are you here to work or to supervise? He Xing, who was in charge of the stove, glanced at Fatty Wong. When he saw that Fatty Wong did not say anything, he knew that he would not interfere. Thus he threw the fire stick in his hand to Yun Chujia's feet. Yun Chujio, the 5 stoves in the south are all under your responsibility. What are you doing sitting here? Hurry up and start the fire. Yun Chujio had a belly full of anger from waking up and the resentment from being heartbroken. She immediately found an outlet to vent her anger. This guy picked up the fire stick and whipped at He Sheng. Burn your head. I said yesterday that I am only in charge of this stove. Are you deaf or have you been kicked in the head by a donkey? He Sheng never thought that Yun Chujio would attack him at the slightest disagreement. After being whipped a few times, he finally reacted and reached out to grab the fire stick in Yun Chujio's hand. How could Yun Chujio let him grab it? The fire stick in her hand continued to hit He Sheng like raindrops. He Sheng was afraid of the sect rules, so he did not dare to use his spiritual power. He could only hide in a sorry state. Fatty Wong and the others were dumbfounded. They felt that the people of the murderous Yuan sect were cruel enough, but they would not go so far as to beat him up at the slightest disagreement. Was this little girl extremely bold, or did she not know the rules of the murderous Yuan sect? He Sheng finally ran behind Fatty Wong. Manager Wong, help, help. Fatty Wong curled his lips in disdain. He felt that He Sheng was really useless. He was actually forced into such a sorry state by a little girl at the 6th level of the Lingxian realm. Therefore he stretched out his hand to grab the fire stick in Yun Chujio's hand. Firstly, he really wanted to stop Yun Chujio from committing murder. Secondly, he also wanted to show off his ability. Yun Chujio's eyes flickered. The fire stick in her hand was easily grabbed by Fatty Wong. Fatty Wong wanted to dodge the fire stick, but he pulled and did not move it. Fatty Wong gritted his teeth and pulled again, but he still did not move it. Fatty Wong's face turned red and he pulled again. As he moved it, then he fell on all fours and even pressed He Sheng under his body. So He Xinjiu had let go. Fatty Wong's fat body pressed on He Sheng's body, almost breaking He Sheng's ribs. He Sheng had the intention to take revenge, but when he saw that Fatty Wong had nothing else to say, he had no choice but to endure it first and curse a few words at the servants who were setting the fire. Yun Chujio took the fire stick and returned to her seat. She sat on the small stool and continued to daydream. After a while, the fragrance of the food began to spread. Yun Chujio stretched her neck and shouted, He Sheng, get me some breakfast, I'm hungry. He Sheng almost choked. Are you shameless? It's fine if you don't work, but you even ordered him to get her breakfast? Who does she think she is? He Sheng was about to say a few words against Yun Chujio when he saw the fire stick in Yun Chujio's hand. He had no choice but to let a handyman prepare it for Yun Chujio. That little guy, I don't want to eat the flour rolls. Pick up a few meat buns for me. Don't want that spiritual rice porridge. Get me a bowl of that mixed grain porridge. A certain Jew sat on the small pony and was picky. The people in the big kitchen were extremely popular. How was this a handyman? This was a fucking ancestor. It had to be said that they knew the truth. This person was truly an ancestor. Thus, on one side the people in the big kitchen were extremely busy. On the other side, a certain Geo was sitting on a small stool and eating her breakfast leisurely. This person, if he was in a bad mood, nothing would taste good. It was unknown if the pretty boy really left in a fit of anger. What a stingy person. After eating a little, a certain Jew decided to go out for a walk. This fellow drew a circle with the fire stick around the small pony and then said, If anyone steps into my circle, they'll come back and break their legs. Do you hear me? Everyone either lowered their heads in silence or pretended not to hear him, but no one dared to refute him. Yun Chujio nodded in satisfaction. On this point, the murderous origin sect was much better than the mixed origin sect. Anyone who disliked them could be killed directly. There were not so many rules and restrictions. Yun Chujio threw the fire stick on the ground and turned around to leave the kitchen. This guy decided to familiarize himself with the terrain first. After all, he would have to come here often in the future. It was better to be prepared. Therefore, this guy walked halfway up the Golden Peak. Since the Golden Peak was the main peak, he would start from the Golden Peak. Yun Chujio strolled around for a day. In the evening, she returned to the kitchen and saw that her small horse was safe and sound. The corner of her mouth curled up. Sure enough, fists were the real reason. This fellow picked up the dishes that she liked and put them into her storage ring. Then she strolled back to the dormitory. As soon as she pushed open the courtyard door, she saw a certain Geo staring at her with a dead fish's eyes sitting beside the stone table. A certain Geo instantly smiled like a flower and pounced over. Idol, my dear idol, I knew you wouldn't be really angry. Di Biming had the intention to push Yun Chujio away, but his body was more honest than his brain. When he reacted, he had already hugged a certain Geo who was pouncing over. Yun Chujio rubbed against Di Biming's chest. My idol, I was wrong. I shouldn't have used the chili to deceive you, but am really sad. I only used the chili to make it more effective. Di Biming snorted and pushed Yun Chujio away. Lying is lying. There aren't that many reasons. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and threw herself into Di Biming's arms again. She hugged Di Biming's neck, she smiled and said, Then I admit that I'm wrong, okay? I won't lie to you next time. I'm just worried about you. Don't be angry, okay? This guy felt that it was okay to act coquettishly with his loved ones. He didn't even care if he was shameless. As long as he was thick-skinned and arrogant, he would become a little girl. You're worried about me? Are you trying to anger me to death? A certain Geo had intended to be cruel to the end, but she had lost all her imposing manner after being hugged and hugged by a certain Geo. Her words sounded a little arrogant. Prince Charming, I'm really worried about you. Didn't I tell you last time? I told you to keep a low profile and not be too arrogant, but not only did you not change, you even became worse. Do you think I wouldn't be worried? To put it bluntly, if anything were to happen to you, I would have to remarry. How troublesome. Di Biming's anger had mostly subsided, but when he heard Yun Chujio's words, he immediately exploded. You, let me tell you. Black thing, you were born to be my person and you are my ghost. In this life, in the next life, you can never find another man. My Prince Charming, although your words are quite domineering. But if you die, you can't control me. I will marry whoever I want. Di Biming was so angry that the cold air emitted from his body, and the tree next to the stone table instantly withered. Because no matter how angry he was, he could not bear to hurt Yun Chujio, so the tree was unlucky. Yun Chujio looked at the tree that had turned into a withered tree and shrunk her neck. She quickly added, Prince Charming, I was just speaking in anger. My main thought is that you have to be careful when you do things. Otherwise, I will be very worried about you. Humph. Di Biming snorted and ignored Yun Chujio. However, the cold air around him had weakened a lot. Prince Charming, besides, even if I want to find someone else, who in the world can compare to you? There's a saying that goes, once the ocean is troubled by water. With you in front of me, the other men are all broken bricks and tiles in my eyes. Yun Chujio said with sparkling eyes. Di Biming thought about it and agreed. Who in the world could compare to the real me? The black thing simply wouldn't take a fancy to other people. Yun Chujio saw that Di Biming's expression had eased up. She quickly continued to say, Love is deep and heavy. Everything I do is because I love you. Prince Charming, my love for you is even more real than a pearl, deeper than the ocean. Don't be angry. Xiao Hanyo inside the spirit beast bag almost vomited. Damn, this black-hearted master is really thick-skinned. He could even say such sweet words. Just as Xiao Hanyo was about to listen again, Yun Chujio cut off the spiritual sense connection. Xiao Hanyo could not hear anymore, so he jumped in the spirit beast pouch anxiously. Di Biming was even more narcissistic and arrogant than before. He did not think that Yun Chujio's words were mushy. He felt that Yun Chujio was telling the truth. He should love him so much. Forget it. I'll let you off this time. If you do it again, HM. Yun Chujio could hear the threat and arrogance in the last HM peach. She cursed in her heart. Gigolo, there's still a long way to go. We'll see. Prince Charming, have you had dinner? Let's eat together. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Yes. The sad one was not only not eating dinner, but also breakfast and lunch. He was so angry that he finally made up his mind to wait for Yun Chujio in the courtyard. How could he still want to eat? Prince Charming, come try this. Isn't it delicious? Prince Charming, this tastes good too. We'll give it to you. Di Biming's anger disappeared in a puff of smoke. Little Gio still cared about him a lot, so he could only reluctantly forgive her. I have high hand. A certain Jiu exclaimed. Di Biming was shocked. What's wrong? A certain Jiu pouted. I wanted to help you peel a shrimp, but I pricked my hand. It hurt so much. A certain Jiu was heartbroken and shouted, I have my own hand, why do I need you to peel it? Eat your own food. A certain Jiu nodded and said weakly, but I also want to eat it myself. I'll peel it for you. You're so clumsy you can hurt your hand even if you peel a prawn, Di Biming said while peeling the prawn shell. He Xinjiu gave herself a 360-degree thumbs up in her heart. To deal with such a tsundere she had to outsmart him. In order to show off, this guy deliberately restored the spiritual sense of Xiao Hanyo and then showed off. Xiao He, look, this is what you call ability. No matter how arrogant the gigolo was, he still had to obediently peel the shrimp shells for me, right? Moreover, he was willing to do it. If you don't believe me, then let's give it a try. Prince Charming, let me do it myself. He Xinjiu said weakly. Shut up. Just wait and eat. A certain lord shouted while fighting with the shrimp shells. Xiao Hanyo was full of admiration. Evil people will be tortured by evil people. The gigolo, this big bad star, deserved to be taught a lesson by the master of the black heart. Thinking back to the past, this black-hearted master almost threw me to my death. Di Biming did not know that his master and pet were secretly using him as a pastime. They helped Yun Chujio to peel a plate of prawns and placed them in front of Yun Chujio. Here, eat. Yun Chujio's eyes sparkled. Prince Charming, you can even peel prawns so perfectly. You are indeed my Prince Charming. Although Di Biming tried his best to endure it, the corner of his mouth still betrayed his current mood. He wished that there was another basin of shrimp in front of him so that he could show off his skills. He glanced at the table. There were no more shrimp, but there was a plate of fish. Thus, a certain god began to fight with the fish bones. The little black bird could no longer express its admiration for He Xinjiu with words. Let alone the seal being broken, even if this pretty boy was allowed to live 10 more times, he would not be able to escape from the hands of the master of the Xiao Hanyo. Initially he had wanted to make a big fuss to interrogate He Xinjiu, but now he was peeling shrimp shells and picking fish bones. It was the complete opposite, all right. During dinner, He Xinjiu had already resolved all of Di Biming's anger. However, Di Biming did not notice it at all. A certain Jiu was completely devoted to him and loved him dearly. After dinner, the two of them sat in the courtyard and chatted. As they chatted, Di Biming frowned. Someone is here. I'll go and kill him so as not to disturb our conversation. Yun Chujio, oh my god. Is it really alright for you to kill someone just because of a disagreement? At this moment, the voice of the disciple surnamed Ji from the Miscellaneous Affairs Department came from the courtyard. Junior Sister Yun, are you in there? I have something to ask you. Yun Chujio persuaded Di Biming to enter the house. Then she put the teapot and teacups on the table into her storage ring. Only then did she put away the isolation array and open the courtyard door. Senior Brother Ji, please come in. Do you have something to ask me? Yun Chujio asked politely. The disciple surnamed Ji motioned for Yun Chujio to close the door. Then he said in a low voice, this afternoon, Senior Brother Ling Kue went to the General Affairs Department to do some work. Then Manager Lu asked about you. Senior Brother Ling Kue told Manager Lu the truth. For some reason, Manager Liu's expression was very ugly. Then in the evening he called Fatty Wong into his room. I don't know what he said, but I only heard them mention your name occasionally. You have to be careful. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.